and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with James Farley.
Hello.
Matt Murray.
Hello.
And John Denton.
I've just put some chapstick on, so I'm ready for this show, let me tell you.
He's ready for the kissing. Should we just get straight into James's notes? Because if you've not heard if you're new to the show, if someone misses one, like James did last week, then the person that misses it takes down notes and gets to chip in a week later. So James, I'm interested to hear what you thought of last week's show.
Well, hang on, I didn't know this was like a formal thing. Yeah, we were supposed to take notes. I thought it was just like if we wanted.
I literally told you last week, take notes.
Well, I know, but
I literally told you.
You see, the thing is, about this, because I've got a few things, but not very much, because I'll be honest with you, I thought it was quite a good show. I was quite happy with it. I thought you all sounded really good.
You sound surprised.
Appreciate
it.
Yeah,
we were really good.
I mean, there was a couple of things. There was the Mike and D'Angelo thing, which was just, what was that about? That was odd.
Well, I said Mike and D'Angelo, but when I meant Michelangelo. But the problem is, growing up with that fucking show on the telly every day after you get home from school.
It was great,
Mike and Angelo.
That was a great series. I loved that when that was on TV.
Was it really?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good.
The only good bits is when he was on the ceiling.
I know, but he was on the ceiling and juggling, Dave. He was
doing a decent show.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It was a decent show.
I know you can fuck around with gravity and shit, but that's taking the absolute piss.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad at all. I mean, there was that was fine, and then obviously there was the Rosa Parks thing, which, I mean, that was a real, like, just head in my hands moment when I heard that, because I heard it and I just really shocked. It
was one of the best moments of my life, to be honest.
It was. It was pretty good.
The best bit was Matt saying it, and then there was kind of silence for like a few seconds or whatever, and then John, your reaction was the best. Like just the disgust with which you sort of like.
John, were you like me? Did you think he was like joking and was going to go somewhere with it, and then he stopped?
No, it was more like I'd witnessed a car crash, and I just needed a few moments to react.
Matt, any comments on that?
No, I mean I regret. I just thought I was trying to help, but yeah, I won't do it again.
I can tell you something. I got more abuse for that bit than you did.
Really?
Why?
Absolutely
Why did you get abuse?
I got screamed at for 40 minutes by Chet Roivas, who heard it. And he was totally right. He said that because just before it, I said there better be a good excuse for the android sitting at the back of the bus. And he screamed at me for 40 minutes about why should there be a good excuse? And I'm like, well, touching on that, he said, but
to be fair, I was
can't go on to something
before Matt fucked it up more than anyone's ever fucked it up. I was actually about to say that to you on the show.
No,
I was, mate.
Yeah, sure. Oh, no, it's great. It's always good coming with the answer. But he's absolutely right. I mean, like sitting there reacting to a tweet rather than seeing what the thing is in context, that's exactly what we shouldn't be doing. So I hold my hands up and say he was right about that. Didn't expect a 40-minute lecture, but I appreciated it nonetheless.
You've known him a while.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? I like it. It still surprises me every now and then. It still surprises me.
So you say we shouldn't judge it, but I've just been playing Fahrenheit, which has got some horrendous racism in it, and so sort of like bad understanding of how to like frame scenes and everything. And so I don't know.
That's one thing. And this is another game.
I know.
And until you play the game, you can't judge it, can you?
But you can. You can't judge the game, but you can still make educated guesses based on what you've already played of the man's work.
That's like not good
15
criticism.
years or whatever. What I mean, when did Fahrenheit come out?
It was 2000s, wasn't it, when it came out?
Yeah, 2005, I think.
Yeah.
But that's not great criticism, is it?
What do you mean?
Can't say, it's probably going to be like that. You can't do that.
No, but Dave, you can make educated guesses based on prior experience.
You can't base anything on an educated guess.
No, obviously you can't say the game is going to be bad based on this, because you obviously don't know. But based on the previous things that he's done and the previous games that have come out, you can make some judgments, prejudgments about what you think the game might be like.
Are you saying you're prejudiced?
I'm prejudiced against David. I'm prejudiced against David Cage games. Absolutely, I've played them all.
You heard it here,
John. It's they're terrible.
I had a talking to, and I had no comeback. I had no retort, and I thought, yeah, that's right. Actually, what I should do is play the game and then see it in its context, and then if I'm offended, I've got the right to be. But going into it saying that wasn't great. But yeah, so got a bit of a talking to. Put back in my
James,
place.
What did you think of the news section last week?
Well, this is the other thing I wanted to talk about, Matt, because you kind of mugged me off with that, which I wasn't very happy about. Because I provided all of that news, apart from one item, no mention whatsoever that I was the one that put all that together for you, and then you just had to read it, and you just said nothing. I mean, I wasn't really surprised, because it's the kind of dick thing that you would do nowadays, with your new persona and everything. But I was a bit kind of like, what's this about? There's no mention whatsoever. You just went in there, took all my stuff, and then just read it all. I mean, okay, you've got form. I mean, again, you've got form of doing this kind of stuff anyway, like ripping off other people's stuff, so it's, I was a bit annoyed.
I mean, I didn't say I collated the news. I said here's the news.
Stuff?
Say again?
What was his form for ripping off other people's stuff?
Well, no, just like, manipulating things and just like, lying about stuff, like your laugh and, that kind of stuff, I'm not really surprised at the moment with anything that Matt does. Nothing surprises me.
I'm not quite sure what I've done wrong because I didn't mention you by name.
You could have credited me. You could have just said, okay, James isn't here to do the news.
The writers as well, but I didn't.
You could have said James isn't here to do the news, but he has sent me some articles we can look at. But you didn't.
I'll be honest with you, James. Can I be flat out? Like, I'm all for having a pop-up map.
Take Matt's side, go on, like you usually do.
No, I'm all for having a pop-up map, but I do kind of think that's a little bit precious.
Why?
I mean, no. Well,
all right.
What did you want him to do?
Next time,
credit to James for the news this week.
All right. Well, next time, I'm not going to do it. He can do it himself. I'm not going to do anything.
I'll go to Eurogamer.net and I'll do it.
Not just Eurogamer. There's other sites as well I visit. It's I've got a good tip the other day for the news, but. For how to. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is that you could have just said, like, James has sent this. That would have been. I'd have appreciated that.
James, this is
such
a non-event.
Matt could have kept his money in his wallet when you were asking for a ticket.
He could have done. He absolutely could have done that. It'd have been fine. I wouldn't have minded.
No, it would have. You got the right up.
It would. It would have been fine. But that.
Anything else on your list?
Aside from that, that's it really. Because I thought it was a really good show and I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we're putting out decent content at the moment.
Really good news section.
Apart from Matt's Fortnite stuff, which was really boring. But apart from that, it was really good.
Matt, any response to that?
No, I mean I thought it was interesting. So up yours, James.
Fine.
Okay, cool. Should we get to listeners' feedback then?
We talked about arcades last week. We had a few questions about it. Tendo Pete responded saying, in Croydon there's an old school arcade called the Heart of Gaming, and it features loads of classic games like Street Fighter and Daytona, and it's £10 entry to be in there all day. I think it's a little bit like the one you mentioned, John.
It sounds way better. The one down here is pretty basic. Do you know what I mean? The games are kind of old. It's just like for holiday makers, really, but the kids love it. But yeah, I've heard about this place before. I think it's Article on Edge, maybe, or something like that. It sounds great, but I mean, you'd have to pay me £10 to go to Croydon, to be fair.
It's true, but Croydon ain't that far from me. I might have to take the boy down there. That sounds too good. Yeah. I'm going to look into that. What was the place called again?
It's called the Heart of Gaming.
The Heart of Gaming.
Yeah,
okay,
that's really close to you,
we'll check it out. Yeah, really close.
There's another one in Bury. Someone else, Craig Bucknell, emailed in saying, just got listening to last week's pod, including a chat about arcades. Just wanted to ask if any of you have visited the arcade club in Bury. It's a brilliant place. 2 floors of classic machines, new consoles, LAN PCs, modern Japanese rhythm games, and everything in between. All set to free play with a flat entrance fee. Probably sounds like I'm shilling, but as cheesy as it sounds, it's a place where it feels like home. We can go there with a group of mates, have a whole day there having fun. It's so if you're up in Bury, there's one for our northern listeners as well.
I love this way of doing it. I think it's such a good idea, and if there's more of these places, I really could see it taking off. It's better than like when you go like to a soft play and you pay £1 to play FIFA on the PS3 or whatever. I hate that shit. The controller's all fucked. And
I've never seen a PS3 at a soft play.
Your soft play's got like games consoles, really?
Yeah, some of them do. Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, you pay like £1 to like play some crappy old game.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Really? Not very good. Not very good.
Anyway, last week, Kurt Lewin emailed in asking, Dave had been asked to sign Kurt Lewin's a copy of a game ages ago. He signed it, and Dave asked what he asked. And Dave, you also said on Kurt Lewin's copy, you also said all the best. So Dave Turner's all the best is clear your catchphrase when it comes to signing things. Did you write it on the Yakuza game?
No, I told you I didn't write anything on there. No, I like part of me felt awkward about writing on this band's game and part of me just had no idea what to write, and also I didn't know what was going on. I was a bit weird when I got off stage on that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just wrote David Turner in a scribbly way.
Anyway,
my handwriting shit.
Next time, all the best is it's what you've been writing.
All the best. Okay, all right, fair enough. If anyone else wants my autograph, I'll write all the best. Thanks for the tip. Thanks for the tip.
That
is the worst bit. Like, it's such a shit thing to write, isn't it? All the best.
But yeah, but it is funny. On last week's show, which the news of which was officially posted and collated by Dr. James Farley. Is that enough for a acknowledgement, James?
That's fine, Matt.
Yeah. We had the news about the Switch hack, and I missed one bit of key news. That actually the Switch hack allows save transfers. So I know what I'm doing after this show. I mean, even the hacked version allows that.
Yeah, well, okay. I think the argument is then that it's possible. Like, it's not a hardware thing that's stopping Nintendo from allowing you to do this stuff.
Of course it's possible.
Oh, no, God, no.
So, why are they not allowing that shit?
Because
James, you know this stuff better, right?
Well, I'm sure that the reason they didn't want to do it is because they didn't want it to be like a potential way in for hacking. Because it has been in the past. Like, that's how you got in. Like with the Wii, you could do it through that. There was like a save file you could hack so that you could then run unsigned code and everything. And so I'm assuming
why the fuck? Well, why Nintendo, not everyone else?
I don't know. I guess it's just the architecture they use is easy for that. Because it's all really old, isn't it? It's like PowerPC, what they were using before. Not now.
Well, they've fucked it now anyway, ain't they? So let's transfer saves. Come on, Nintendo. You know it makes sense. Right, next.
Speaking of which, I got some genuinely rather nice feedback from Athene Allen. Hi all, just wanted to offer some words on console hacking as someone who's pretty familiar with the scene. While it probably won't be considered as cool, Matt is right in that hacking groups will be in conversation with device manufacturers about exploits. The Switch stuff is a great example. Both groups discovered that the exploit independently both groups that discovered the exploit independently disclosed it both to Nintendo and Nvidia 90 days before release, which is standard practice and allows companies to create patches or device revisions within plenty of time. In terms of why they do that, much of the active scene isn't focused on piracy. In fact, most exploit finders are vehemently against it, and instead on the idea that the hardware you own is yours and to do with as you please, which means running Linux on it, etc. Unfortunately, there are less friendly parts of the scene who will re-engineer the work done by these ethical hackers in aid to piracy, and that puts a dampener on the whole affair. It means that a largely ethical practice gets tarred, and I hope that clears things up.
It doesn't. I mean, is that really why they're doing it, do you think? Is there anything ethical about this?
Well, yeah, there's always teams of people that try and hack machines, but not necessarily for bad reasons. It's often just to test the security.
I don't know. I don't know if I buy it. That just seems like an excuse rather than a reason.
Google and all that used to have those things, didn't they? Where they'd pay you money if you could find things that were wrong with it.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but they're releasing it onto the internet so people can download pirated software. Why are they doing that? If this is so ethical, why are they releasing it to the general public?
Well, because I guess they'd say it's like open source information, isn't it? Because most people that are into this kind of stuff usually are into open source and everything. So it'd be sharing the knowledge.
No, I don't know. I'm not on board with this.
I guess just like Athene said, they think, well, you bought it, it's now yours, you can do it as you please, and if you decide you want to hack this machine and do whatever you want to it, then that's yours to do. But okay. I don't know. I'm not into Athene. Who knows?
If I was in gaming court, mate, they'd all be going to jail. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. All right.
Objection.
After I've downloaded
Renegade 6 Killer. Never heard much more bullshit spouted from Matt Murray than talking about Ghostbusters. He talks such shite about the cartoon preceding the film, then there being a 70s TV show, and also no one asked him who the fuck is Gordon. Probably watched
that line when I saw that tweet.
One episode and gave up.
Oh, yeah, Gordon. That was
yeah. I know.
I fucked up there.
I must have missed that.
He was thinking of Egon.
Basically, I was thinking of Egon, and I'll say Gordon.
Gordon. He said,
"Yeah,
I think I'd be Gordon."
Oh my god!
I remember, I listened to it back, and I was like, "Is Gordon a character?"
I listened to it back and thought, "Yeah, I'll definitely be Gordon."
Gordon, you're thinking of Thomas the Tank Engine?
Maybe. God knows what I was thinking last week. And yes, the whole Ghostbusters thing. I got It's an incredibly quick Google when I was on the show, and it basically is incredibly confusing. So, Ghostbusters, the animation, is an 1986 animated TV series. It wasn't based. It was based on a show called The Real Ghostbusters, not to be confused with the 1984 film Ghostbusters and the subsequent television show The Real Ghostbusters. Basically, there's like another thing called The Ghostbusters. It's totally separate. I found that. Anyway, I apologise.
But the animated series that you were talking about was based on the film.
He was talking about The Real Ghostbusters. That's that one, yeah. But
not the Ghostbusters. Anyway,
Jesus Christ, you must have lost your shit, because James, you love this sort of 80s television stuff, don't you? 80s, early 90s television.
Listen to that, and I was wondering if he was talking about the TV show The Ghostbusters instead, and that maybe there was a Gordon in that because I'd never seen that. But you know.
Yeah,
but like when he was turning around and saying, "Oh no, it's the cartoon become the film, wasn't it?" And then when John went, "They look exactly like the actors." It was just like the most incredible
yet
coincidence.
Another mistake of mine. I mean, after last week's show, I was listening to last week's show and I thought, I can't do this anymore.
Well, you're quitting.
I just make too many mistakes. This is ridiculous. Every week it's like something else. I just need to keep my head down. And even in a week,
you're quitting?
Okay, I'll keep my head down this week. I say Rosa Parks. I get Ghostbusters wrong. I think there's Gordon. I mean, God knows what else I've probably said that people probably haven't been caught up on. Myself.
We'll sort it out.
So, hold on. It sounds like he's quit. Are you handing your notice in?
No, I'm not handing my notice in, but I've given myself a verbal warning.
The other thing
this
about
sounds brilliant, isn't it?
It's also
myself a written warning.
It's also because, like, you know, Dave, you should keep him in line a bit more, like, you know, sort of cut him off sometimes, because otherwise he just rambles and then stuff like that comes out. It's better to just
you keep
it going.
On your own jobs. Don't turn on mine, all right? That is quite an attitude you've got there, Matt. I shouldn't do this anymore. I'm making so many mistakes. Are you quitting? No, I'll plough on regardless. You've just got to dress yourself. Maybe we should have. Maybe we should do. Was it yearly appraisals? We get you to fill in a form.
I won't be kept on for another 6 months if that's the case. I mean, like, you put lots of effort in, Matt, but fundamentally, if you're not doing a day job properly, then it doesn't matter. So,
Matt, what would you say? Where do you want to be this time in 5 years? I hate that question. What an awful question that is. Yeah. I want your job. Is that what you want me to say?
I want to be the main one. But you can't be the main one. The main one's not leaving. No, I want to be the main one. Well, here's a 6-month plan. If you hit your targets, maybe you'll be the main one. Maybe there'll be 2 main ones.
Go on, next.
And then, of course, I said Rosa Parks. We were discussing the new David Cage game. Androids are sat at the back of the bus. I said, if you want animal, whatever. I said it. Harrison Hunt. Hi, TCGS. I got that right. Hi, TCGS. The thing Matt said about Rosa Parks last week was one of the most fucking stupidest things I've ever heard in my entire life. Matt, you belong in a home. Cheers, keep up the good work. I assume that keep up the good work is to the rest of you guys. Rusty Rooster zoned out while listening to a computer game show. I need to tune back in with Matt saying, Google Rosa Parks. What the fuck did I miss? Chris Bant, hi, I googled Rosa Parks. It doesn't say a thing about androids. I'm still very, very confused. Rusty Trombone, thank God Matt Murray's on hand to inform us about the important historical events and people. Never heard of Rosa Parks before. He suggested Googling her. Now, I assume that one's sarcasm. I mean,
yes, that was a sarcasm. I said to John after the show, it was like us talking about last year's Call of Duty game and saying, if you don't know what we're talking about, Google World War II. It was quite an event in history. You might, I mean, yeah, I don't know what it was, as if you had never heard of that and you had to look it up yourself. And then all of a sudden you were like, oh my God, there was this amazing woman that stood up to oppression in this way. It was incredible. I've got to tell people about this.
People must know.
Didn't you learn that in school?
I don't remember it from school, no.
Really?
I mean, I went to school like 20 years ago. I can't remember that.
Oh, come on,
And also, no, I genuinely don't. I knew of the name, but I wasn't sure of all the things.
Anyway. You knew enough to tell people to Google her. Yeah.
Because I had. Anyway, I'll try my better this week. That's it for feedback. If you want to tweet us, it's at ComputerGamePod with any of your feedback, or you can email thecomputergameshow@gmail.com.
As we head towards E3, faster and faster pace. Well, it's the same pace really, but it seems to be creeping up on us. The news seems... Yep. The news seems to be dying down everywhere, doesn't it, James? What have you scraped from the bottom of the barrel this week?
It does, because I'll be honest, there isn't a lot. You've let me off a bit there, but that's good, because I was a bit worried, because I looked at what there was and not really that much has happened. But we have got the biggest thing I think that came from last week was the Red Dead Redemption 2. There's a new trailer for that's come out, and there's been a few more details sort of leaked out from it. Do you want to know?
All right, but let's do the details first before we talk about the trailer. Go on.
Okay, so it's confirmed the game is a prequel, and it's set in 1899, so 12 years earlier than the first game.
Yep.
Hey?
Yep.
Okay. And we also know it's set... Like, you just suddenly went, "Yep."
Yeah, go on.
So we know it's set during a period where there were outlaw gangs that were being like hunted down because the West was beginning to like close by that point, and that the main character is called Arthur, and he's part of this gang that is sort of robbing and stealing and fighting their way across the map that there is to try and survive, even though they're being chased by like federal agents and stuff like that. And also,
so it's confirmed you're not playing as John Marston as the lead protagonist.
It's this guy Arthur, and also, but John Marston showed up in the trailer as well as a gang member, being held at knife point. And what was kind of interesting with that is that because that fits back in with the first game, doesn't it? Where he was a gang member that had like left it and then was trying to settle down and have a different life, but then this maybe shows.
You've worked that. Good work there, James.
I thought I'd just fill you in, David. I thought you'd appreciate it. So then also there was a bunch of other characters that also in Redemption showed up as well, and that was about it really. I mean, what did you think of the trailer, Dave?
I thought it was lovely. Yeah, there were moments where I was like kind of underwhelmed by how it looked. If I'm being completely honest with you,
I think after God of War, I thought it doesn't look. Okay, I'm not going to say it looks bad because obviously it doesn't, but it looks really good. But it still is not quite at that level, which is understandable. But it's not.
No, because there were certain scenes where I thought, "Wow, this looks stunning." You know, where it shows like that there was a shot from sort of ground level. Looking into a town, like it was sort of moving into the town. That looked absolutely stunning. But I think that the character models themselves, I was kind of like, oh right, okay, this. I mean, we don't really know because it's just a trailer, but I was kind of like, this don't look like as mind-blowingly beautiful as I thought it would.
Yeah, it feels sort of GTA 5, which isn't bad because GTA 5 is a great game, but I mean, I think after seeing things like God of War and stuff, it feels like it was. It's sort of showing that it was developed, a few years ago.
And you've got to remember that it's an open world game, and there's all sorts of different systems in play that means that they have to take hits somewhere. But I'm sure it'd be great. I mean, the trailer didn't blow me away because. I mean, we've seen so many of these sort of things, and it didn't tell us too much about what's going on. But there's no way I'm not excited for that game. And then the little glimpses of what we did see were enough to sort of just go, yep, that still looks like it's going to be amazing. There's no cause for concern here yet.
Yeah, definitely not.
What did you think, John?
I thought it looked very lovely, but I'm kind of at the point where it's like, either do one of those trailers where the person talks you through the systems. I kind of don't actually want to see that, but at the same time, it's about time we got a bit of substance, or just I'm just cool now. Just roll on October and let me play. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how many times can I just see cinematics or that little Rockstar style cut, a little bit of dialogue, a little bit of open world. Great, looks great. I'm pumped. I'm in 100%. Of course, that's it. I mean. I don't need many more.
Just gotta wait for it,
Yeah, that's it. Wait for it. We'll do the summer and then we'll fucking play Red Dead. That's about it. That's just what's going to happen.
Do you reckon they'll be on stage with anyone this year?
No.
You're going to say no, John? Matt, what do you reckon?
No, I mean, when are Rockstar ever at E3?
They're not, are they?
No. Not since the olden days.
Well, they did that one with Microsoft, didn't they? With the tattoo and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was GTA 4, though. That was fucking...
Yeah, they don't need to be, and they won't be.
Okay, we'll see.
Although actually, am I wrong in thinking that although they're never E3, don't they like release a trailer in and around the E3 time, and that sometimes takes on the glory anyway? Or have I?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there'll definitely be another trailer, if not before E3, then during it. we'll know. I think it'll be like maybe a week before E3. We'll get one of those talkie trailers.
I mean, the next one's got to show you the online stuff. Yeah, this is the third one now with story. So I like to think that's the end of the story.
Not necessarily. I mean, if they did one of those talking trailers with like explaining details of the story and the world and stuff, that would be enough. They usually do that before the online one, don't they? The online one comes after.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't need or want any more story ones. Just I want mechanics and online, but that's it. I mean, I'm just like John. I'm going to get it. It doesn't really matter what I see now, but yeah, I don't need another one showing me any more story because I don't want to see that stuff anymore. Want to save it.
No, but who cares if they do? I mean, it's only marketing, isn't it? Okay, yeah, fine.
Then the next story we had is that there was the God of War stuff, with it being the fastest selling PS4 exclusive that there's been so far for the machine. I mean, it sold...
So what is that up again? So...
It's up against Uncharted.
They've had some big ones, right?
Horizon Zero Dawn. I think that's about it, isn't it? As being, like, exclusives.
Well, Bloodborne, I suppose, is in that category.
Yeah.
Or is it Sony-owned ones?
I think Sony-owned ones they've gone for. So...
Right, okay. Well, I think it's thoroughly deserved. The more I play it, the more I'm enjoying it. And we'll talk about God of War again in a bit. But, what can you say? At least it's a game that deserves that sort of accolade. And it's good to see... Because it's not an easy game. It's not a casual game. It's, like, very, very... involved, and some of the themes in it are very strong, and the writing is fantastic. Blah 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 blah. It deserves it. So I'm happy to read this sort of news.
Yeah, it was the second biggest week one seller of this year, like behind Far Cry 5, which came ahead of that. Which makes sense because that's like cross-platform, isn't it? So there's more opportunity.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because there's been that whole narrative about like people saying, "Oh, single-player games aren't dead," because this is done really well. But
who started that?
I don't know.
Who was it again?
It's weird because I'm not entirely sure it's really quite right because, I mean, in this case, these first-party games like God of War are kind of like a special case, aren't they? Because Sony can afford to put like loads of time and money into games like God of War because their system, they're to show off the system, aren't they? That's the to differentiate it from other platforms. So that's why they can spend a lot of time and money on it. But
yeah, but hold on, you think, like, Far Cry 5 sold really well, and alright, it's got multiplayer element to it, but that wasn't why people were buying it. Zelda, Mario, there's loads, that multiplayer, single player games are dead thing was nonsense, and we called it out when it was originally said. I can't remember where it come from, but it's bollocks. It's clearly bollocks.
I think it's because people keep going on about Battle Royale games all the time and how they're going to take over, but it never really happens that way, does it? It's just, new stuff happens, old stuff usually continues.
Wasn't it like a bunch of major single player games at the back end of 2016 all sold really poorly, so...
I think you were talking about 2017. Okay, yeah.
No, it was like Dishonored 2, a bunch of others. They all sold really poorly, and that's where that kind of narrative came out briefly.
And then when you think about it, the amount of
down Visceral, and didn't have like a line or quote in their press release saying they're going to focus
more. That's right. Yeah.
The thing is that you've got to just look at the amount of flops that have been in the multiplayer sort of market as well.
Yeah.
A few flops doesn't mean that a whole style of gaming's dead. I mean, fucking hell, that what was it? What was the game that you liked? The Lawbreakers,
Radical Heights.
Radical Heights is that people seem to be wanting to jump on that as well at the moment, and I just kind of think
no one's jumping on it.
But it's like insanely early access. It's not even close to being released properly yet.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter, does it? Like, really?
Well, of course it does.
Well, no, it doesn't, because the thing is it sets like if the game comes out in like really, really early access or whatever, and people don't like it, then it's going to set like a negative trend for like the rest of the time for that game. Like whether
I didn't hear people. I haven't heard people saying that they don't like it. I've heard people saying that it's not being played that much.
Well, that would kind of indicate that people aren't really bowled over by it if not many people are playing it. I mean, it went from...
It sounds way too early to call that game. But by the sounds of it, they were putting out some sort of test stuff out there just to see, gather information. It was much more of a beta than it was anything else. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not them gathering information. So how many people are playing? 12. Okay, well, we'll gather more information next week. We'll come back to this.
I think you're being harsh there, Matt. Okay?
Okay, the next one, I'm umming and ahhing about whether including this one or not, because it's not really that interesting, but because Microsoft's are, like, they're dumping Minecraft on the last generation consoles now. So after the Aquatic update, there's not going to be any more for 360, PS3, Vita, or Wii U. And Microsoft have argued that the user base for those games is, like, really small now anyway, so they're kind of sort of ditching it off, which, I don't know, I mean, it's just, to me, this just seems like it's an indicator that last hardware generation is really kind of done now. It's
Well, that's what I'm thinking. So how many games are currently still used on those consoles? Like a proper games as a service style game? There's hardly any now, right?
Yeah, because Destiny 2 didn't come, did it?
No, Destiny didn't.
No, Destiny 2 didn't do last generation stuff. Yeah, I think that would have been the last one that I thought would have sort of clung on to the older software. I'm assuming you can still play it. It's just not going to get any further updates.
Yeah, you can still play it. It's just, it's not. But then also because they released that new edition as well, which if you're not on the new edition on Switch and Xbox One, you won't get any more updates either. You have to like switch over to that. So,
what do you mean?
Well, they released one with like a massive like graphical update and like quite a lot of changes, and for quite a long time on Xbox One. There's been like two versions of the game. There's like the original like Minecraft version, and there's this like what's called the Bedrock version. And if you're not on the new one, then it's you can't.
But how do you get onto it? Have you got to pay?
No, you can still just download it. It's
Oh, that's fine then.
But some people are
no problem.
Happy about the old one. People don't like change. They get annoyed, but. It's weird, but it's just I know
they've got to do this, that, and it's going to happen more and more. You're gonna see these games that need to have cut-off points because they've got such a long lease of life now.
I mean, the only stuff that you start to see on stuff like 360 and PS3 is going to be like legacy editions of FIFA and stuff,
and like the Telltale games.
Yes, probably them as well.
Okay, cool.
So the last bit I've got is that this is something that Matt didn't mention last week, which I was surprised at.
Well,
which was
James, it was in my original list, but Dave and John said it wasn't worth talking about.
Okay.
What was it?
So if it wasn't worth talking about, I mentioned this morning and said, does anyone want to talk about this? If you don't want to, I'll remove it, and nobody said anything. Was this an attempt?
No one reads those. I'll be honest, no one reads those texts. No one reads them. I see a list of links and I can't be bothered.
A list of links? There was 4 news stories, and I said, what do you think of these?
That's enough. That's too many. Go on, what was the last one?
Forget it, we'll just bin it off.
What was the last one, James?
It's this Nintendo's next smartphone game. It's an action RPG.
Oh, I think why didn't we want to talk? I suppose it's just like, okay, that's what they're doing. Right?
If you look at the trailer, like it absolutely is something that I don't think you'd be interested in, so, that's that, okay. I guess.
Alright, well, Nintendo got a new smartphone game coming out.
Mario Kart 4 is still coming out later this year, after this.
So, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. What is this game, James? You haven't actually explained it.
Well, as I said, it's an action RPG. It's called Dragalia Lost, and it's got a similar kind of anime art style to Fire Emblem Heroes, and obviously it looks nice, fully voiced, etc. But we don't know much about it apart from that. Apart from it's developed by this company called Cygames, who Nintendo own like this sort of small stake in the company. And that's their project, it seems.
And when's it out?
No release date yet.
So this year. Yeah, I mean, that smartphone game, the Mario Kart one, I'm still kind of curious as to what they're going to do about that. Like, how are they going to make it free to play? What are they? That's
the other thing I've just remembered you didn't talk about last week. Like, Nintendo got a new president as well. Like last week, you didn't talk about that.
Oh, that was another one. Right. Okay. So, John suggested that. I think we were talking about what we needed to talk about in the news.
I think that was one of James's links.
Oh, right. And we said, well, we can't really talk about it because we don't know the guy. We don't know anything about him. Unless you could fill us in.
Matt wasn't willing to read any of the details about it at all.
No, go on. So fill us in.
I haven't got them off the top of my head, have I?
Well, brilliant. No, because don't have a pop at Matt if you haven't got that is shocking.
So James, if you want a link,
it's not shocking because the thing is, right, is if I knew we were going to talk about it, I would have prepared some notes about it. And Matt obviously couldn't be bothered last week.
Why would you break your habit of a lifetime and prepare notes for it, James?
What are you talking about? I prepare notes every week.
I didn't know you
every week I prepare notes. It's just that sometimes I'm not prepared for the exact question that you've decided to ask. I don't know what's going on in your head, David. And it's like, sometimes you'll say stuff. I've no idea you were going to ask me that question. You'll ask me, like, what percentage of something, and it's like, how on earth am I supposed to know that just off the top of my head? Madness.
Well, just say I don't know, mate.
I do say that, and then you get all arsey with me.
All right,
James. Like, just go back to WhatsApp. Go to the group and find the links you posted last week, and then tell us about the new.
Forget it. I'm not going to share any of this stuff anymore. I'm done with doing that because it's just a joke, isn't it? To you, it's just annoying. Go on.
Sorry, I didn't know you took it so seriously, James.
I do.
Is James handing in his notice now?
Mate, honestly, it's just going to be me and you. It's going to be Dave and John and their reassuringly finite podcast. Because it's ending soon. Okay, cool. Should we get to what we've been playing?
Yeah.
I might as well start with James this week because, you weren't here, so you've got 2 weeks' worth of games to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 3 things that I'd like to talk about. I mean, I'll leave God of War perhaps to the end, because then if you want to move on to that with other people as well. But I've been playing... There's two main games I've played, which are both Switch games. One of them is this game called Manticore Galaxy on Fire, which I'm sure you've not heard of or know anything about. I mean,
no, what's it on?
Well, it started out on on iOS and Android, and it was the Galaxy on Fire series. Have any of you heard of that?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
So basically, these are like space combat games that they involve trading, or at least they did in the beginning. They don't have like the depth of stuff like Elite, but there is lots of exploration. And they were really famous, particularly at the beginning of the iOS era, for like sort of looking very impressive on mobile hardware. Like they really did look good, and they had like really good production values, considering it was just at that time just a mobile game or whatever. But this is the 3rd game in the series, and previously all the other entries have been like paid versions on mobile, but this one went free to play, and people were not quite so happy about it. But then the Switch version got announced. And I think it's also come out on PS4 as well. And it's a paid version that includes all of the add-ons and stuff from the mobile version. So it's like, for me, it's like kind of the best of both worlds kind of thing. It's like, you've got like, you just pay one price, you've got everything rather than the free-to-play stuff. But the trouble is it has some problems, because obviously it's a lot better because it has like the controller support rather than, like touchscreen, for fighting and stuff. And it looks really very nice in places. Like it's, like the galaxies and everything look amazing. It has like these huge debris fields and like asteroids and all that kind of stuff. It looks really cool. But there also are technical problems, like there's slowdown when there's a large number of ships on the screen. And the biggest problem I had with it is that it's the free-to-play roots of it are really disappointing, because you can, even though they've made this so it's like a paid for game, some of the gameplay mechanics have clearly been designed for iOS and for the free to play stuff. So there's things you have to do like in missions and stuff, which is really kind of like busy work and really kind of like tedious, because I'm sure that the reason for this is because you could have paid money to like upgrade more quickly or whatever. And this is what's really irritating, because what they do is they have this explore mechanic whereby you complete a mission, so you've finished, like shooting down a number of ships or whatever, and then it'll say, okay, now explore this area, and you have to like find all these like bits of data like that are sort of hidden around, and you have this like little drone that like sort of beeps and when you get closer to something. Which is really, really tedious. It's really, really boring, like just flying around like this huge like map, we're trying to just find these tiny little like sort of data blocks that you're supposed to collect. And it's one of those things where you think, okay, well maybe that's just optional, but it's not really, because if you don't get those, then you can't upgrade your ship and stuff like that later on, which means that then when you get to more challenging missions, it's really difficult. And so you kind of have to do this. And it really feels like one of those, like an example of this, like trying to give you sort of tedious work to make you spend money. But because you've already spent money, you can't sort of pay to accelerate it or anything. So it just kind of spoils it a bit, really, because the actual combat is really good. It's really sort of fun, like just like jetting around, like the sort of through like wrecked ships and stuff, and like banking and like using cloaking devices and stuff. I mean, it's a very good game. I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's just that this explore thing is just kind of killing it a bit, really, because if you don't do it, it kind of ruins the game a bit.
How long does it take for you to explore and find the stuff you need?
Well, it depends, because like for each time they'll have like a certain number that you need to find. So sometimes like you'll look at it and it'll say 9 things you've got to discover, and you're like, oh, that's the worst, because that's going to take at least like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes to sort of fly around trying to find these things. And if you're doing that at the end of every mission, it's really not very fun, like, to have to do that. And like I said, you don't have to do it, but you kind of feel that you need to, because you need the upgrade points. If you don't get them, your ship's not powerful enough for later stuff. But, I mean, But the other major complaint there's been about this is that the earlier games, they had a lot of like trading and a lot of sort of exploring sort of different sectors like Elite, that kind of thing. But with this, they stripped it right back, so it's really, really linear. It's just you go from one mission to the next, just sort of, taking on these sort of missions like, escort missions, bombing missions, that kind of stuff. And it's fun. It's just that it doesn't have that exploration that was good in the, especially in the second game. But I don't know, it's still good. The combat is still really good. It's worth playing. It's just this explore thing is a problem. And this is the thing that I've always been most bothered about with free to play, is this idea that when you create mechanics like this, you're doing this because you're trying to encourage people to spend more money. So, maybe you make some aspects of the game a bit more tedious so that then they'll be more encouraged to do it. If you translate that over to a console, like full console game, it doesn't work because you just feel this is bullshit.
How long before you start playing one of these games on a proper console, and then it comes up with an advert? Just like, I don't know. Okay, all right. It sounds like a bit of a disappointing port more than anything.
But no,
else.
it's okay. I mean, it's just I enjoyed it. It's just I'm still playing it. I'm still kind of enjoying playing it. But it's one of those games where it's like See, I've got a terrible problem. I've got the opposite problem of Matt. And my problem is that I'm a bit of a completionist with stuff. Like I feel that I have to finish stuff. Like I don't feel like I can just like start and just like then bin something off. So with this kind of thing, where you've got to collect stuff and it's taking ages, it's a fucking nightmare for me, because it's like I feel like I've got to do it, and if I don't like 100% stuff, I feel bad about it, and it's just that's just my problem, and it's driving me mad.
Here's a question, John. What would you rather be? Would you rather be a James or a Matt?
In life? Or about games?
No, what's that? About games. Like, would you rather...
I'm more Matt than James.
Have to complete things?
Yeah.
Or would you rather bin things off, like, within 20 minutes?
It's tough. And I can't not be like that. I can't stick with it.
No, it's one or the other.
I'd still have to be Matt, just because.
Wow.
My personality. Yeah, it's tough though. I mean, suicide. Can I suicide?
No, you can't suicide. No, you made a steal now.
Yeah, it's made a steal. Yeah, it's gonna have to be. Yeah, I can't do that busy work. It just drives me fucking crazy. I'd rather quit gaming.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
I got the attention span of a fucking pea, so yeah, it's a miracle I get anything done.
I think I'd rather be a James. In fact, actually, I wish I was a little bit more like James when it comes to that stuff, where I do force myself to go through the busy work a little bit to get to the satisfying feeling of like ticking games off. I love that stuff.
So, I mean, I've managed to... now, because of obviously, after you have kids and that kind of thing, you can't do it as obsessively like as I could when I was young and didn't have family and stuff. So now, like, I'm just down to like when I get a game, I want to finish at least just finish the campaign. Then I can kind of tick that off and think, okay, I've done that. But before, it was ridiculous. I always felt like I had 100% stuff, and yeah, that's.
See, when I was a kid, I would not 100% anything. Like I'd play games and move on constantly. I was always down the stock exchange selling my old games and getting new ones. Apart from Banjo-Kazooie, which I did all my completing on that.
I think it was like that because when I was a kid, like I didn't have that many games because I had like a Master System and not that many for it, and I always just felt like I had to wring everything I could out of it because things didn't come that often. So I don't know, just became obsessed with it. That's my problem. So anyway. Okay. The other thing I've been playing is Labo. I played that over this weekend.
Thank God we've got someone on the show to talk about this. We mentioned this last week. You didn't pick up on it in your notes, but what were you doing sending your
stuff with the Joy-Con was ridiculous, right? Because No, because you're having a go at me for that. But I sent that off about 2 or 3 weeks before the game came out. Like that was
but I mean, how long that takes to.
I didn't know it was going to take a month for them to bother doing it. It took ages.
How long did they say when you sent it off?
Well, I sent it off, and then I got I finally got an email back after about 3 weeks. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. I can't remember. It was, but anyway, and then they said, "Oh, we'll send it back to you like within 10 days, but like 10 working days, so that's basically another 2 weeks." But then actually it was better. They got it back to me like within a couple of days actually, and it turned up.
Was that because you were sending those little snotty tweets? don't think that I didn't pick up on that.
It was probably that, and also the phone calls. It was because I was getting a bit.
You were phoning them up.
Yeah,
what were you saying?
I just phoned them up and said, "What's going on?" With this, because it was annoying me. Because
what did they say?
they were just like, "Oh, sorry," and the whole thing, and it's like we've got a backlog, and yeah.
But like, I mean, would anyone else in this podcast send off their Joy-Con 2 weeks before a game that's essential? Like, no, I mean, that's mad.
I would always imagine that would be a month.
Yeah, but it's broken. So what am I supposed to do?
It completely didn't work. It wasn't the sensor issue.
No, it wasn't. What it was the L button was broken on it, and I didn't know.
Right, that's fair enough.
I didn't know whether maybe it needed that for the end of the game or whatever. So even if I'd have kept it, it still wouldn't have worked. And
I just assumed it was that sensor thing.
No,
it
wasn't
kept
that.
losing connection or whatever.
No, it was an actual physical problem. But anyway, so I got that back and it was okay. And then we started playing it this weekend because it came out. And
what have you built so far?
I've built 2 things so far because we're kind of taking it slow. We're trying to do one thing every sort of weekend day or whatever. And so far we built the RC car, which only takes about 5-10 minutes. It's really quick, and the fishing rod, which we built yesterday. And today we were going to start on the house, but didn't get around to it. But it's funny because I've done this with an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. And it's not entirely easy because of that. Because my daughter, who's 8, she can do it fine. She was putting everything together herself. She followed the instructions. It was easy. But my 5-year-old was getting a bit frustrated because it's it's the thing with it is it's not difficult at all to actually do, and the cardboard is really surprisingly sort of solid. But he was still getting a bit kind of he wanted to put his fingers through stuff and all that kind of thing. And I was like, please don't. That cost £50, and it was a bit difficult. But but apart from that, once we got it built, he was really happy with what we had. He played with it for ages. As I said, we've only done 2 so far, but I can't get across how satisfying it is to put the pieces together. It sounds mad, but putting these bits of cardboard together, the way it all snaps in to the right places, and then when you suddenly you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, you figure out how they've how it's sort of designed to sort of go together, and you're like, oh, that is actually really clever and really interesting, especially how you can open flaps and stuff and then see how it's working inside. And it's just also the constructed pieces. As I said, they feel really solid as well. They've been playing with the fishing rod a lot, today, and a couple of times they pulled the handle off. Obviously, I went mental at them. I'm joking, I didn't. And but no, it's just it's really easy to reattach again. But it's just because they were getting so excited, playing it, and also my wife as well. She hates video games, but she was getting really into this, because they were having fishing tournament where they were trying to see. How quickly, the sort of size of fish they could get and everything. But the other thing that I want to explore with this is that it's also got this Discover section, which adds more ideas that you can do with the games that you've got. I think you can add draw your own fish and all that kind of thing and put it into the game and things like that.
Yeah, that's right. You put it in the piano or something, it scans it in.
So we've got, the piano is going to be the big project, I think. The next one we're going to build is the house, but it hasn't happened yet. But it's just...
Do you have to take apart the things you built to then rebuild,
No.
or is it lots of other bits and cardboard within the pack?
No, the cardboard you get is enough to build all of the stuff. You don't have to take anything apart. It's at all. You can still just keep using it. Because this is the other thing.
That would be mad if it were. That would be mad if it was that way, Matt. What made you think that?
Well, I don't know, because so how many? So is this a variety pack you bought, or what?
Yeah, we got the variety pack, and we've also got the rocket one as well, actually, because that was bought by my parents-in-law for my son, for his birthday. And it's there's no way I'm starting that yet, because apparently it takes about 7 hours to put together, and I haven't got time at the moment. But the variety one has, I think it's 7. Is it 7 things? I can't remember. I should know.
Okay,
I'm the one who's got it.
But in my head, I thought it was a bit like Lego, whereby you just take the thing apart, you rebuild it, you build something else. But
No.
That's pretty cool.
No,
You can have all 7, models or whatever.
Yeah, and also, basically, it's you're just building accessories, that you can then use with any of the games at any time. You can sort of just pick them up and put it all together. But
how
it's
deep are the games? Are they surprisingly deep, or they really are just quite shallow mini games?
Well, the fishing's the deepest one. As I said, I've only played 2 of them, but the fishing one is better probably than the RC car stuff, which is really just moving it around. It has got that infrared thing, so you can like see, you can use like the camera on it, which is pretty cool. Also, I mean the the vibration thing is really funny because it's like you can control the vibration on the Joy-Cons, which hours of fun with that, I'd imagine, for stuff. But it's like, because you can
go on. No, go on.
Well,
Don't brush over that.
No, you could use that for all sorts of things.
Like
It's
what?
it's
Go
like
on.
you can like turn it up, turn it down. You can go, you can steady the
I'm
rhythm.
not
all
quite sure what
sorts of
you're
stuff.
implying, James.
I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying you could have a lot of fun with those Joy-Cons. It's but
You're a dirty old
I
man.
don't know what you're talking about, Dave. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Let's move on.
The one thing that I was thinking the other day, right, is that Nintendo were going, hey, and if anything breaks, you can just print off your own versions, like download the template and print off your own versions. But surely that's not the case, because one of the essential things for these things to work are the reflective stickers or whatever that you put on things.
No,
Like, is that not the case?
no, it's not really the case. Well, it's not so far for the stuff I've built. I mean, the thing is, I mean, I don't think that you'd really need to do that anyway. I mean, you can get like replacement pieces if you want to, but because it's funny, because everyone that I know that's like seen this, like, since I've been using it, they all ask like, oh, like, can you get extra cardboard and stuff? But I don't really think you'd need to, like, unless you're going to really hammer the stuff. I mean, maybe over a long period of time you'd need to get some, but I mean, you could use the, like, because you've like sort of popped them out of the like the sort of the what's it called, the stencil sort of stuff, and you could probably like make new ones yourself just by like tracing like around, but it would be pretty hard. I think it'd be really difficult to do that. It probably is just to buy some new ones or whatever. But I don't know. I know Nintendo are selling them, but I don't know how much they are. But so far, I don't really think you really need to get any more. They seem fine.
And with the fishing rod, like, how does it? So it's got a how does it actually work? Because it's got the like a string or something hanging out the top of the thing where you put your switch.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, what I don't get is that you're reeling it in, but you're not reeling anything in. What's the deal?
Well, what it is that you put one Joy-Con goes into like the reel, and then another one goes into the handle, and then you've got the string, like the string that which goes down into where the switch is, which is then on like a spindle, which is then on like an elastic band, so that when you pull it, it's got like tension. If you see what I mean. But actually, that's not really doing anything. What is happening is the motion controls in the Joy-Con in the handle are feeling you lifting it up and down. So this will then affect what you see on the screen. And then for like when you turn the handle, obviously the motion controls are working for that as well. So then it can tell that you're like wheeling down or wheeling up or whatever.
It's cool. It's not selling well though, is it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's sold better in Japan than it has here, from what I can gather. I mean, it's sold better than God of War did in Japan, which is not
really.
Yeah, well, it's not really a massive surprise because God of War's never been like a huge series over there. But I don't know. I think it's like this kind of thing. I think is quite a big ask, like, for people, because it's not the kind of thing that just like general gamers or whatever think are going to pick up, because it's quite expensive. Like, you're looking at like 50 or quid. If you haven't got kids, I don't think people would really bother like to do it. And it does feel, like you said, Dave, like you'd be interested in picking it up at Christmas. It feels more like that kind of thing, to be honest, but I don't know. I mean, I hope that it continues and they build on it, because it would be cool if they just like started releasing like smaller, cheaper ones as well. But I still feel it's a bit expensive, like, considering, what it is.
Yeah, but again, compared to like kids' toys, man, kids' toys are expensive.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? Because for kids' toys, like we said, it's not really that expensive, but for games, it is. And like Nintendo's core audience is mostly like gamers, really.
Also,
and
James,
so they're going to look at this.
It would take 7 hours. Is that were you joking, or
what rocket?
No, it's the rocket suit thing. No, the robot.
The robot suit. Yeah.
So what? 7 hours? I mean, like 50 quid or whatever it is for 7 hours seems decent for me.
I don't know. I don't know if I've just read that. I don't know if that's. I mean, I can have a look at the box because it tells you like how long it takes, but I'd have to go and leave the room. But apparently it takes a long time though, because it's really complicated.
I was going to say, Matt, you pay 50 quid for 1 hour, so you're laughing.
Exactly.
Oh, I think you might have upset Matt a little bit with that little comment, John.
Shit.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of Labo. I'm not prepared to pay that amount of money at this point.
Yeah.
To go through it, but
I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely getting bought at some point.
I mean, Rachel was loving all the stuff. Like, she was like decorating the RC car and all that kind of stuff, and she was like drawing on it and everything, and she loved it. She thought it was fantastic. And like Asher, when he woke up, the first thing he wanted to do was do the fishing. But I know, I just want to see how the other ones work out as well, and see if they're as good.
The one that I'm really interested in is the bike one, because the game for that sounds fantastic. Like, isn't it? Hasn't it got like a track generator and everything?
Yeah, it's
like you could draw a track.
Yeah, it's got all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, hopefully by next week, maybe I'll have built it. It's it's the house next though. Is the next one?
That's meant to be surprisingly good as well. So I'm surprised you haven't been all over this yet, John. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I was always in the plans to get it when it came out, but to be honest, I can't be bothered to build all that shit. I hate building stuff at the best of times. So I told Elliot that maybe he can get it for his birthday if he really wants it. But yeah, it's a lot of money to drop on. I don't know.
Cardboard. It's a shit thing to say, but it's a lot of money to drop on cardboard.
I mean, the software is really good. Like the Toy-Con stuff, the garage and everything is really great. But yeah, I mean, I've got to say, like putting it together with the kids was like doing it with my daughter was fine, but with my son, it was a bit of a nightmare.
I mean, my youngest is pretty young. He's not even 3, and he's a destroyer. So I said this last week. Yeah, I mean, it would have to be when he's not in the room, basically, and he will just trash it at some point if it gets left anywhere. So yeah, I just foresaw all of that drama. So yeah, if he really wants it for his birthday, then fair enough. But
it's like
talking about sales. I do kind of think that they should have dropped this and released it very quickly, because when that initial trailer came out, the buzz around it on the internet was like really high, and then it sort of just tapered out, didn't it? And then all of a sudden it was released, and it just kind of felt, well, if it come out like a week or two after that initial announcement, I think there would have been a little bit more buzz about it. But that's not how things work these days, is it? You got to give the hype nice and early. What was that?
I don't know.
It wasn't me.
Okay.
I didn't hear anything.
It was James. Here it is again. Dirty bum bum. Dirty bum bum.
Anything else, James?
Only God of War. That's the only.
Well, should we do God of War then? Just a quick check-in, because we've talked this game to death over the past 2 weeks, but where are you up to, James?
Well, I'm up to about where you are, I think, which is not very helpful, obviously, to the listener, because I don't know. What can I say? The second
realm.
Okay.
The second realm.
So,
the second time you go to a realm, I think I'm right at the end of that, I guess. I guess you come out of that realm pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot shorter than the first one.
It is a very short one, yeah. But, I mean...
Yeah, so I'm on the boss battle for that.
See, I don't really have much to add from what you said last week. I mean, it's just, I'm enjoying it so much. I mean... I'm playing it on balance. One of the things that I did like about it is the way that they're doing the checkpointing as well. Like, because with some of the battles, I have died like quite a few times, but like some of the battles are quite protracted and pretty long, or they can be. And like the way that it doesn't like just shunt you right back to the beginning again is
no,
good.
But some of the checkpointing is a bit shit. There are moments where it checkpoints just before a cutscene. I've never understood that. Checkpoint after the cutscene, like, because I don't need to see that same little bit again. There was one battle where I had to walk up to something and press a button, and it was a big surprise that this massive enemy come out of nowhere, but it kept killing me, so I just had to keep walking up to that thing and pressing the button again. I was like, I don't need to see this over and over again. So yeah, it's not perfect for that, but yeah, at least it doesn't completely like chuck you right at the beginning of sort of a big long section.
But it's just, I mean, I'm just constantly just kind of astonished by how good it looks as well. I know everyone just keeps saying that, but it's just, so it's just, to me, it just feels like this is like Nintendo level good to me. Like the level of polish that's gone into this and just how well everything fits together. It's so good.
Yeah, John, how are you getting on with it?
Yeah, I don't think...
You were a bit reserved last week, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed what I've played since. I kind of went back in... Do you remember last week we were chatting a little bit about the side stuff? And I think I was struggling with the position I was in with the game, where I was like, I didn't feel like I had mastery over understanding the different elements of the game. I'm not talking about mastery over the combat or anything like that, just how it all pieces together. So I went and explored some of the side content a little bit more, and again I was just getting beaten down by these purple enemies. Remember, I'm playing on the harder difficulty level, so I'm not sure what those enemies are like on if you play on normal, but they will literally touch you once, you'll die. On this, I don't know if it's the same on normal. And it was like, well, I'm just going off exploring, but every time I do, I'm just getting slapped down, and I feel like eventually the game's just telling me I shouldn't really be doing this. So I put out a tweet just to see what other people's thoughts were, and enough people came back and were like, mate, just do it at the end. Finish the campaign, do all that stuff at the end, it's fun.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
what I want to do, yeah.
I was just like, well, enough people have said that, so that's what I'm going to do. It's because the little kids, like, let's go and explore, and I'm like, all right, but every time I do. Anyway, so after doing that, I ploughed on a decent amount with the single-player campaign. I realized, to be fair, I was really hoping I had finished it by now, but just... yeah, my life's kind of crazy at the moment. I'm not really getting as much time as I would like to play games, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't think I'm as far as you guys. I'm definitely not as far as you guys, because you mentioned just before the show sort of like another thing that happens in the game that I won't go into in detail that I haven't got to yet. But I probably played the whole next...
Do you know about it? Do you know of any of the spoilers? Or
No. I just, like,
that?
when you said that... very briefly, just before the show, I was like, okay, I figured that was where we were going, if that makes sense. So without...
I don't think you do.
All right.
I think maybe we overhyped it a bit. But yeah, there's a game-changing moment in it.
Yeah. I don't say that shit. I didn't think anything of it, and now you said there's a game-changing moment. That's way worse than whatever was said before. Shush, I'm talking about the game. Shush,
right, okay.
Ruining it for everyone. So I'd done the whole next level, what you'd probably class as a level, area, sequence, whatever, from getting there on the boat to beating the boss at that area, a good few hours of gameplay. And it was basically magnificent from beginning to end. It had the God of War scale, which it was missing at the beginning of the game, but it's definitely come in spades now. Brilliant boss fight, some great other encounters, like really, really high level combat stuff, amazing spectacle, some good story stuff. I just thought it was magnificent for about 3 straight hours, and I was completely hooked in a way that hadn't been previously. And also with the knowledge in my mind, that I wasn't missing out by not going and doing side stuff. I'm now focused. So I feel much better about, just ploughing on, getting through the game. It is taking me longer as well, because I am playing on a harder difficulty setting, it's really good. I'm finding it a little less difficult than the beginning. I think just purely because you've got more health, you can take a couple more hits. You've got some special moves under your belt and stuff like that. Whereas at the very beginning, like, the enemies were hitting you sort of 2 hits and you're dead, and you had nothing, do you? You don't have any extra moves, you don't have any health. So it's evened out. There was a bit where, like, you're kind of on a sort of lift type thing where you got a time limit to kill some enemies, which is complete pain in the dick on challenging mode. But it was one of those, you remember, you've probably done it since we were kids, like, you get stuck on a game super hard, and then for some reason you stack it off, go to bed or whatever, and then the next time you put it on, just the first time, everybody's done it. Everybody's done it in games a million times. So that happened to me, thank God. And
yeah, I didn't really like that section.
Yeah, that section.
It was kind of like, it's just a time limited bit for no reason.
Yeah, that section was pretty much bollocks. But thankfully, like I said, I was like ready to turn the difficulty down and just be furious generally. But yeah, did it straight away second time, and when I turned it back on, I should say. And yeah, I'm just pumped to get back into it. I really want to see if I can dedicate some proper time to it this week and get through it properly. Because the more I play, the more I like, the more I admire, the more I'm trying to dispel other people's ideas and thoughts and opinions out. Not that I've read or seen much, but it's just all those high scores and all the tweets and things like that came out. And also the more I'm not worrying so much about the whole Greek mythology thing, and I'm kind of getting into the world a little bit more. The first realm that you visit, the Alfheim, which is fairly early on, I think that's fair enough to talk about. I didn't really vibe off it that much, and I was like, it just reminds me of the Thor movies, and I hate them. So, yeah, it's got a lot better since then. Way more God of War. What I want is God of War set in that world rather than Kratos goes to Thor, and I'm getting that more now. So yeah, just fired up and pumped to get through the rest of it.
Yeah, I still have certain problems with it. I hate the climbing stuff. I hate it.
Really?
The fact that you have to pan the camera around to see the thing. Like, you're so used to playing Uncharted where when the guy leans out, you can jump in that direction, but you have to pan the camera around in this until he's looking at the next leg.
It felt a bit more sort of deliberate to me. I kind of liked it.
I wasn't a fan of any of that stuff, and I still have that thing where I can only play it for about an hour before I feel like turning it off. But when I'm not playing it, like last night. I played it not last night, the night before. I was in no fit state to play any games last night. I literally turned God of War on and went, I'm far too hammered to be even looking at this game, let alone playing it. So a couple of nights ago, I played it for about an hour and a half, and then I turned it off and went to Rocket League and played one game of Rocket League and went, actually, I'm going to go back to God of War. It's one of those games where I can't sit and play it for a long period of time, but when I'm not playing it, I want to play it. It's sort of a strange feeling. But yeah, no, I mean, you're right. It does start to, the more the combat opens up, the easier it starts to feel. And I'm sure there's just around the corner, it's going to kick my ass, but really enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it more every time I
Whoa, you're still playing it.
I saw Matt on there on the PSN list, and I was blown away, to be honest. Blown away.
Holy
I'm not
shit.
just saying that as like the classic Matt dig, even though it is true. I really genuinely thought you were done.
No, I played it until like 1:30 on Friday night, and basically 2 nights over his bank holiday. I lost track of time, but Friday and Saturday, I think. Yeah, I'm still absolutely loving it. But I do sort of wish it was shorter than it is, because it's. I'm barely.
You need to get back to Fortnite, yeah.
Well, I enjoy Fortnite. I'm allowed to like 2 games, but it's just quite a long game. It's just quite a long game.
What is it? Can I say that again?
It's just quite a long game. I mean, I've just done the first realm. I've done like the big boss at the end of the first realm, and I'm loving it. I have no intention of quitting, but I just. I mean, from what I heard, some people say like 30-hour game, which is long thing. But no, I'm loving it, and I'm enjoying it more whenever I get like a new move or a new skill, upgrade my armor. I feel like it adds another dimension to the combat, and I'm absolutely loving it. But I mean, I've lost more hours to it than I thought I would really. I was playing till like 1:30 the other night. It's just, oh shit, I better stop playing. But yeah, it's a brilliant game. I guess we're not going to talk about this now until we've all finished it, or until at least one of us finishes it.
I think that's probably for the best. But, there's not much else we could say at this point.
I'm still digging away. I mean, that's mostly all played this week.
Cool. All right. So, John, did you have anything else on your list?
I just played a little bit of Overcooked with Elliot, and
nice.
That game is just business. I love that game. It's hilarious.
So you playing it 2-player?
Yeah, we always did. Whenever I played it, we always played it together 2-player, but I forgot I had it on the Switch, and we stumbled across the fact that it was on there. And yeah, we've just been playing a bit, and just stuck it on, and our youngest sounds absolutely hilarious, just when you're chopping the vegetables and just making onion soup, you know what little kids are like. So yeah, that kind of brightened the mood of the room anyway, and it's just a brilliant game. I wish the music wasn't so annoying, but what can you do about that? But I can't play it for too long either, because I end up getting really angry. really angry with him, because he's really good at it. But occasionally, being a 6-year-old with a sense of humour, you'll just you're trying to get 3 stars, and then you look across the kitchen, he's just spinning around with a fire extinguisher, pissing himself laughing, and you're like, Elliot, we've got fucking dishes to serve. But I go full Ramsey on him, and I don't want to really be like that when we just try to play games. So I mean, there's nothing more to say. Like, if you haven't played Overcooked, it really is a cracking multiplayer game. But the Switch version, I think it got slated a little bit when it first came out because of the frame rate.
It was fucked when it came out.
I mean, it's definitely not as smooth as the PlayStation version, but I assume that they've done good work to it, because it's more than playable. It's perfectly playable. And I played it. I'd never played it 3-player before, which is with the Pro Controller and obviously the 2 Joy-Cons. You can do that on the Switch, which is cool. But yeah, great Switch fodder. Great game.
Oh man, how much is it on Switch?
I don't know actually. I managed to get one through Team 17 on the down low back in the day when it came out. But back in the day, a few weeks ago. But I don't know, 20 quid, 5 quid. I don't know.
Wait, is it some sort of amount? Harry too young for it?
No.
I will probably pick it up then, because that could be.
It's so simple to play that even if he's going to be too young to get very far, but You can definitely do the first few levels with him.
I mean, because I think Snipper Clips is quite a complicated game to play, and now Harry and I breeze through. We've only got the demo of that, but every now and then he wants to play it, and we breeze through that demo like next to no time now. And there's
probably be all right.
Quite complicated stuff in that. So I think
the inputs are really simple. So once he gets his head around the order of having to do stuff and
that's it.
When it gets complicated, it's difficult for anybody. So. Yeah, he's probably not. But then again, the more he plays, the better he'll get. So, I reckon you'll be all right.
Alright, I might pick that up then. I've only ever played that game in four player with our mates. And, I mean, it was hilarious when we played it at the time. I think that Catastronauts that we played at
I was going to mention that.
I think you should definitely check that out, John.
Catastrophe. Is that one that's like Overcooked but in space that you were talking about?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's a lot more complicated than Overcooked. The actions you're doing with the controller are the same, but there are things like there was we didn't mention this on the live show, but there was one of the co-op stuff is that the ship is split into two parts, and one of the big power guns, there's like a button on each side. And to get the most out of it, one of you has to be either side, and you press one side, but there's a button on either side. You press one button, then the person on the other side has to press the other button, and then you sort of go back and forth. And then, of course, that drains your battery, and then someone's got to come and recharge the battery for you and replace it and shit like that. So, it's a little bit more complicated than Overcooked, but obviously flying through space, firing at enemies is it's just, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more fun than cooking. Is that bad to say? Probably not.
No, so you want.
It's good. Just blowing things up, innit? It's better, makes things better.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, I'll talk about an indie game that I've been playing. I've been playing this for a few weeks, actually, but I haven't been able to talk about it because, sadly, they had to change the release date of this game due to the attacks in Toronto. Because the title of the game is Death Row to Canada. And I'll tell you what, the PR messages we were getting about, please don't talk about this game, please, we're the embargo's being extended to this date. Like real classy messaging. It was like, it wasn't like, please tell everyone that the release of this game, it was like, please just don't talk about this game for a while, because we just want to separate. And I felt kind of bad because obviously they're releasing this game that they've been working on for a while, and I mean it's been out on the PC for a number of years, I think, but this was their big release on consoles, and suddenly they had to change all plans simply for the title. But they're going ahead now. I think it's out on the 8th, so it should be out by the time you're hearing this podcast. I'm playing on Nintendo Switch. It's called Death Row to Canada, and it's a zombie, the way I describe it is a zombie film simulator. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's a top-down action game with sort of narrative elements to it. So you've got like moral choices and decisions to make as you're going along. And then every now and then it will say, do you want to go to the shops, or do you want to go to, there's an abandoned house? And then you'll pick which one. You'll get out of the car, and it's up to 4. Well, it's a co-op game as well. I don't know how many players can play at once, but you can have a team of 4 characters that you meet along the way and recruit. They've all got their own randomly generated specialties, and like things the way they react to things are different, and the way they look and all this sorts of. It's all like rolls of the dice. And then you walk in, you pick up weapons, and it's all about stockpiling supplies because you don't know what's around the corner. And then you have more choices. Do you want to stay up all night trying to gather food from like berries from bushes and stuff, or do you want to go to sleep and make sure that you rest up for the day ahead? And it really does feel like a movie at times. The way the game over works is that if you've got no one left in your party, including yourself, then you're done, and you have to start all over from the beginning. But if you you select a character at the start of the game, then you recruit people. But if your character dies, then the story still continues. So it could be like, Trigger's Broom by the end of it, where you've started off with a group that none of them exist anymore, but you're still continuing this story with this people that you've met along the way. It's really, really good. I can't recommend it enough, and it's perfect for the Switch because so far I'm not very good at it. So the stories take about 25 to 30 minutes to get to the point where I die, I get overrun by zombies, and I'm dead. And then, but within those 25, 30 minutes, it feels like I've experienced this like completely unique narrative, because every time you go into the game, again, it's like a roll of the dice. It's like a roguelike where everything's a little bit different. The challenges coming your way a little bit different. And yeah, you trying to, yeah, I can't wait to play this in co-op before I properly go crazy about this game. I've been enjoying it, but like next time you guys are over, I know Matt, you're going to be over here after the Games Media Brit list. We should definitely have a run at that.
Yeah, well up for that.
Because I'd love to see what it's like in 2-player.
You're definitely going to do that when you're both wine drunk, peeling in at 1 in the morning.
That's true. It's true. It's not going to be a good. We'll wait until the next morning. Matt's got the day off the next day, so it's all good.
How much is it?
Again, I don't know. If I was to guess, like if I was to put a price point on it, I reckon £15 would be a cracking price to put on it. But no, I have review code, so I don't know the price of it. Anything over that, and I can't fully recommend it yet because as much as I've enjoyed playing it, I don't know about the longevity of it. If it really does feel like a new experience every time you play or not. I haven't got to that point yet to sort of work out if it really is worth spending a lot of time with. But the time I have played, but honestly, it's got some of the best music I've heard in a game for ages. Like in terms of indie game, I mean, I love the music in Mario Odyssey and Destiny 2 and stuff like that. But the music in this game for an indie game is just incredible. It's full of sort of a mixture between real instruments and chiptune stuff, which is always a great combination. I always love that shit. But some of it is just it is one of the rare games where I've sat down and listened to music like on its own away from the game. Some of it's a bit cheesy and a bit like sort of obvious, but for the vast majority of it, it's really, really good stuff. So
in terms of pricing, this is actually already out on iOS and it's £13 on iOS.
Yeah, but on iOS, but we're talking about
it's $12.
I mean, god damn, get it then, because it's just really good. I mean, some of you are jaded with zombies, and this won't change that. Like, it doesn't suddenly do interesting thing with zombies. Zombies are slow-moving enemies that follow you around the screen in this game. The cool thing is that if you're not paying attention, you can totally get surrounded in no time, and once you do that, you're fucked. There's also other ways of doing it. Like, it's all screen stuff. So you go into a house and it sort of goes to a new screen. You go into a new room in that house and it goes to a new screen. Like, it's all fixed perspective stuff. But the world continues outside of that screen. So if there's like 10 zombies in a lobby of a hotel and you walk into the one of the rooms, you might think you're safe, but those zombies can still enter that room. And it's a bit like, oh fuck shit. You can like barricade doors. You can. There's loads of nice little touches to it that makes it feel like all that stuff that you see in those zombie movies. You know, there's the lack of ammo. There's the picking up anything you can to chuck it at zombies, try and keep them away. There's sheer panic in running away and trying to start a car. When you go back into your car, you've got like, it doesn't just start up first time. You've got like sort of rev the engine and then move off. It's just got loads of wicked little touches that just add to this sort of organic narrative is a shit way of saying it. It feels like it's unfolding in front of you rather than being scripted, and that's always really important. So yeah, so far so good. I've really enjoyed it. Really love the music. If it's under £15, then buy it. Like, especially for the Switch. I'm not 100% sure if it's Joy-Con only gameplay. I can't see why it couldn't do that. But I'd be really interested to see what it's like in co-op, and we should definitely try that in a couple of weeks' time.
This is also coming to PS4 and Xbox, but
it is. And I'm glad. I mean, for the music, like you may not be interested in the game or whatever, but search Death Road to Canada OST on YouTube and all the tracks are on there. Some of the songs on it, absolutely incredible. Really, really good. Like, just good video game music. Love it. Love it. Highly recommended so far.
It's also out on Android, if anyone, any Android listeners are out there.
No, okay. I'd rather play it with a pad. It feels good on a pad. I can't imagine playing it with, touchscreen. But there you go, whatever you're into. Whatever you're into. Matt, have you got anything on your list?
I've obviously played a tiny bit of Fortnite Season 4, but it's mostly been God of War this week.
So what's the deal with that? The thing come down, did it? And
yeah, I mean, I don't want to bore James, but yeah, the Dusty Depot's gone, and now it's like a massive hole in the ground, and there's like a villain underground base, there's a hero underground base, there's all sorts of where Dusty Depot used to be, it's now called Dusty Divot, and now it's like a huge crater, and there's these glowing chunks of rock you can pick up, and those allow you to do sort of like huge jumps. So it's quite cool. But basically, almost I guess like Crackdown style jumps. You can stack these rocks. Obviously, they run out after a minute or so, but I've seen some amazing kills and stuff with those. But I haven't played too much. But there's absolutely shells of challenges now in this new battle pass. But I'll be mostly focused on playing God of War, so I haven't played much. But and then tomorrow, I think it is that they've got this tie up with the new Avengers movie. So that's again once again like an amazing bit of marketing. But the new Infinity War. There's basically, it says Fortnite versus Infinity War tomorrow, so excited to see what that is.
Okay, cool. Should we get onto emails and tweets and team?
You're damn right. If you want to email us, it's thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. Right, kicking things off is Ben. Hey fellas, summer is upon us and the perfect excuse to dig that barbecue out from the back of the shed. So what's going on the TCGS barbecue? Are you happy with just some burgers and hot dogs? Would you like to push the boat out with some steak, chicken, pork chops? Is Matt going to bust the glazes out? What are we saying?
Chicken and burgers.
I've got no problem with just burgers and sausages on a barbecue. I've got time for that. But when there's a little bit extra on there, then that's when it gets good. That is when it gets a bit of chicken. I'm all down for a bit of chicken. I got another chicken D. But I mean, you were posting pictures of your barbecue the other day, John, and pork belly.
Yeah, and that bought some pork belly and some like sriracha beef strips, steak strips.
Oh, yeah, so good.
And yeah, they were ridiculous. And what else did she get? Oh, these like little mini chicken chorizo slider burgers. And yeah, plus normal and lamb burgers and sausages. Yeah, it was ridiculous, to be honest. It tasted fucking incredible. So yeah, I'm all good. I'm like you. I'm not a snob about it. If it's burgers and sausages, all good. I mean, still gleaming, but yeah, she took it to the next level, and it was the next level.
My dad does this thing where he gets this whole massive bit of lamb, and then he covers it in tin foil and all this seasoning or whatever, and then he cooks it. Like once he's done all the burgers and all that, he just like leaves it on the barbecue as it starts, like the coals start to go. And oh my god, it is the tastiest thing you will ever eat in your life. Like it tastes so good. I'm not a massive fan of lamb, but my word, that shit it's just too good. It's too good.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you get the option of having some steak and then throw in like the sort of steak spices on before it gets on the barbecue, amazing. So good. If I'm going to go burgers, I'm a big fan of sort of like apple, pork and leek and all the stuff, or some chili inside. But I'm also happy with the basics of hot dogs and burgers. How can you not be? It's a barbecue.
You cannot go wrong with a barbecue. Can't do it. Unless you poison a barbecue and it's all burnt up and shit. Yeah. James, but I imagine you barbecuing with one of those aprons on, like a witty apron, and a little chef hat, standing there with a beer, like Homer Simpson.
Really? That's quite a nice image, actually. I'm quite happy with that. Yeah, I mean,
it's like you educational man, just like sort of trying to slum it for a day. I reckon that's what's going on there.
Oh, okay. But yeah, just what you said. Burgers, fine. Anything, really. I'm happy with. I like barbecue a lot. It's great. Haven't had it for ages, though.
People don't sling enough halloumi on a barbecue.
It's true.
They don't do it. It's so good. So good. We do that now all the time. It's a lovely old job. Barbecue halloumi.
All right.
Love that shit. Right.
Sweet. All right. Hey up, lads. As always, I'm increasingly looking forward to E3, so I thought, why not do a roundtable quickfire prediction? Just one prediction each. Brackets, it doesn't count towards your scored predictions, just a bit of fun. I'm predicting a Splinter Cell return. Here's the catch, exclusive to Xbox like when it first released originally for a short time. Thanks for working on a bank holiday. Cheers, lads. Oodles. Now, I've read it out, but then I should have really asked the class, are we going to do this, or is this...
We can't, can we?
Because then it kind of eats into... actual predictions, right?
Well, you got to hold your cards to your chest, haven't you? You can't sort of spill the beans. Have you?
Yeah.
What for E3?
Yeah, that thing's going to happen.
It's going to be. Right, we could talk in general terms.
Have you not already started your list?
Can't make some. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Hang on.
I can't.
Matt, you shouldn't have a list.
Well,
I'm allowed to do the predictions.
Well, he's still got to make predictions.
Are you still making? Is he still making
he still makes predictions.
Yeah, of course he is.
Did I do
what
that?
do you expect to do, James?
You made predictions last year.
Did I?
Everyone's done predictions every year.
I just remember getting mugged off for the F-Zero thing.
Here's a question: can John participate? He's already told us that he knows things that's going to be announced.
That's a good point.
Well, I just won't mention those ones.
Yeah, but you'll know, won't you? Like,
do you think I care enough to win the game to do
Maybe
that?
you can slip them to me, John.
To break NDAs?
Yes, I think
do you think
do.
I'd break NDAs on a prediction show to win a game?
Probably.
To risk myself getting sued
you are
to win a game?
John.
What?
You are fiercely competitive, so...
That's not true.
Oh, that is
That's
true.
not true.
When we were playing that game in your garden of who can kick the football between the chairs at either ends, with me and you, it got serious.
Right.
Yeah,
He
you're
wasn't
very
under-
competitive.
But he
It
wasn't
was the
under-
most
dangerously
ridiculous game
competitive.
ever,
I'm
and we
not
almost come
dangerously
like we were like
competitive.
putting our feet in.
I'm
And
not
everything.
dangerously competitive. I am, I'll compete to win, but then again, I don't care sometimes. I don't care about this win.
Okay, this will be the last word of it. You're not dangerously competitive.
Yeah.
The screams you were making when we were arm wrestling in A Way Out.
Well, that would be...
That was danger.
That would definitely be a good counter argument. That would definitely be a good counter argument. That's fair. But I don't think I am. There was no danger. Nothing was in danger.
I don't know. Yeah, no,
Are you
you've
beat
got
me
to
at Connect
you've
4,
got to make
didn't
your
you?
predictions.
You
Sorry?
beat me at Connect 4 in that, and when we played. Yeah,
did, yeah.
And how did I react?
You went, oh, how did I not see that? I'm going to kill you, if I remember correctly.
No, that's absolutely not true. I was like, I just went...
You were a little bit pissed. Hold on.
No.
You were a little bit pissed.
I was pissed off at myself for about 2 seconds.
No, but you were pissed
but
off
you know how
when
competitive people are. If they lose, proper top-level sportsmen or something, even if they lost that game of Connect 4, they'd be fucking fuming all the rest of the evening. Properly competitive people.
And you've never felt that about when we played Rocket League and we've been on a bad streak?
No, I felt that, but dangerously competitive people are like that with everything all the time. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm like that. I don't know up to it if I did. Feel like I was like that. I'm definitely competitive, of course, but you've got to be a bit competitive, haven't you?
So John's doing it. John's then making
because I'm not going to break
predictions.
NDAs to win this game. I just won't mention the few little tiny things that I do know. That'd be imagine doing that. It's just like ruining my career for a fucking game.
Yeah, but yeah. All right.
Okay. You'll still not. You'll still never know though, will you? You'll still.
Why chuck that in? Why chuck that in?
That's what you're thinking. That's what James is thinking. Sitting there being quiet. It is. I can read you, James, or in your garage. I can read you.
Okay, next question.
Evening, lads. After hearing you all talk about God of War, it pushed me over the edge in deciding to get it. I was trying to save money, but oh well, no regrets. Good on you. My question is for John. What's his favourite story from Greek mythology? And for the rest, has any of the other lot looked into it, probably / Norse mythology in this case, since playing the game? Loving the show and all that. That's from Gary. It's a good question. Honestly, everything's kind of blended into one, so I remember individual little characters and what happened to them and where they did, but I don't remember entire stories from beginning to end. But
what's one of your favourite characters? Give us an example for one of your favourite characters and what happened to them.
Well, the whole Trials of Hercules thing's pretty dope, isn't it? And
what's the Trials of Hercules?
Yeah, he has to do all those different things, and then there's another guy fights like a Hydra. Maybe that's Hercules. Like I said, it's all blended into one. But anything cool that ever happened from stories or psychology is from Greek mythology, like Narcissus. That's a cool fucking story. Guy fell in love with his own reflection, all that sort of stuff. Who's the guy who had to go down into Hades to save his love? I can't remember his name now, but that guy was cool.
Let's say Gareth.
No,
Definitely
it was something ending in us. They all end in us.
Gareth.
Yeah, it could be Gareth.
Gareth. No, I haven't actually looked into
Pandora's
that stuff.
Box. That's an interesting one. Like, it's all good. It's just all fucking Icarus.
First time I heard of Pandora's Box was what was that fucking film? The Garbage Pail Kids film. God, it was so bad.
I don't know.
They opened Pandora's Box in that. Just a little bit of Greek
There
mythology
you go.
for you.
Spoilers.
See,
Hey,
it's everywhere. It's everywhere. But I'm appalling. Everything's blended into one. Like I say, I used to read the Greek mythology Usborne book when I was a little kid with the Zodiac and all that sort of stuff. And then I did like classics in school when I was like 13. That's 22 years ago, man. I can't remember. But I still love that shit. It was more like whenever I played the older God of Wars, they'd be like, that's that character. I remember what happened to him, but not like I can tell you the entire story of something, Homer or something like that. So classic me. It was
Homer?
he wrote Odyssey, didn't he? And the Iliad.
Okay, fine.
All right, that's the end of letters. All right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. Tweets. Athene Allen,
Good.
what's the perfect bank holiday game?
Oh,
I don't
God.
know.
What is the perfect bank holiday game? What have you played? What have you played today?
Nothing.
Really? You've not turned a console on at all?
I've
Yeah,
been with
nothing.
the fam all day, lid.
Been
Grafting.
doing DIY today.
Matt doing DIY?
It doesn't matter basically what day of the week it is or if it's a holiday or not. I'm still only gaming after 10:30, so it doesn't matter. But
See, because I've
been repainting the kitchen all weekend. It's been mental.
You've been right. Okay, we played a lot of Splatoon 2 this morning, which just basically Harry just shouting at me while I'm playing Splatoon 2. And then we played a little bit of Kirby. Splatoon 2 was quite a good game for a bank holiday. It was just we switched it on and had a really good
I tell
time.
you what, I will
And that
give a
was
shout out to, not a game, so not really the answer to this question. We watched the new Jumanji movie this weekend.
Is that
It's
any good?
fucking good. Like, it's legit
Yeah, I
good.
want to watch it.
It was properly funny from beginning to end, and obviously they go into a video game, and there's just like good nods to gaming stuff in there, much better than most things that try and do that, or most things that try and be gamey. Just there's nothing like out of this world that's amazing, but everything's just funny, and all the four actors in it, they're all hilarious. And Jack Black playing a 16-year-old like hot girl is just hilarious, truly hilarious. I thought it was great, really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, recommended.
do wanna watch it.
Recommended.
I like the
It's
trailers
just
and
come out
stuff.
on like DVD and stuff. We got it rented on the TV. Yeah, it was gleaming.
I think I prefer that. I think I prefer watching a film on a bank holiday than I do playing like a specific game. But the problem is that weren't happening today.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, the weather.
Ridiculous.
It was insane.
Down here was unreal. So yeah, that was yeah. We're outside, going out bouncing.
We went to a
place.
dog show.
What the fuck's that?
Where they just rate dogs and that.
Like Crofts.
Yeah, I used that line several times today, Matt. You'd have been so proud of me. Yeah, we went to a dog show.
Was it good?
That was an experience.
No,
it
good.
was-
Yeah, I mean that sounds fucking terrible.
Well, there was like a fair going on at the same time, so I was doing those cork shooting and like duck racing and stuff.
I feel
so
that.
it was okay.
That's
It was
good.
okay.
That's good.
It was alright. James, have you played a game today?
I did manage to sneak in a bit of God of War earlier on, but that's about it. Like John said,
I wouldn't describe that as a good bank holiday game, though.
No,
Would
it's
you?
not. But you can't, can you? Because you just spend...
Where are you guys finding time to do this?
Because you just
in the
spend
day?
the whole
This is
time with the
mental.
kids, don't you? So it's like, it's impossible,
What
really.
What are you talking about,
What do you mean?
Matt? There's loads of time in the day. I sat down with Harry
Yeah,
and just
but
put
time-
Splatoon on.
Yeah, I haven't had that option. Too many things to do, baby, that aren't just playing games.
Alright.
He did this to me the other day on text, on private text, when I was just sending.
No way. What did he
I was
say?
sending Matt just some like funny things, like what's your SoundCloud rapper name, and then he never replied. And I was like, what's your SoundCloud rapper name? And he was just like, too busy, baby.
Yeah.
It's a little too busy. I was like, all right, mate. You don't have to mug me off. I'll just sending you a fun little thing to do. Mug me off.
You might be able to.
I thought my response was good. Like little bit
It was
busy.
actually. I mean, it was one of the funniest ways of mugging me off you could have done, but regardless, the result was the same.
But the thing is, you could say that to me. I don't think you can say that to two kids over here. Surely he's got less time in a day than you have.
Who's got less? I've got less time.
Matt.
I've got no time.
But I don't know. I mean, whatever. I hope you enjoy God of War, James. I can just imagine me saying to you, I'm just going to play God of War. I was like, yeah, no, you ain't fucking doing that, so it's a weekend.
Yeah,
mate.
that kills me a little bit, because when a game like God of War, there's no way I'm playing that during the day. There's just I just do not get the time to do that. Because, Harry's about and stuff, and I can't be playing that shit in front of him.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, no, like Splatoon and Mario Odyssey and shit like that. Yeah. Always got time for that. Okay.
Right, moving on. Sam Quirk asked me a question, one for John. If I wanted to try and get into fighting games as a complete beginner, where should I start with modern takes on a genre, or should I go back to an older classic first? I would highly recommend, Sam, if you don't have somebody to play with, don't bother. That's quite honestly, because the single players are bollocks, and then you're going to go into online and just get murked straight away, and it's not going to be much fun. But if you do have somebody to play with, or you are interested, I'd probably get Soul Calibur when it comes out this year, because you can just mash buttons but then learn a game. Like Street Fighters, if you've never really played Street Fighter from back in the day, is quite complicated to get into, and again, like online, it's just going to be hell on earth. Tekken as well is also really easy to play. But yeah, like I say, if you're going to get into fighting games, have somebody in real life to play with.
I'm surprised ARMS isn't up there for you. Do you not treat that along the same line?
ARMS, yeah. If you got a Switch, yeah. And that is a game you can go into online and do all right in early doors, just because it's got good matchmaking. And it's quite easy to play. I forgot. I didn't forget about ARMS. I just didn't really class it in that respect. But it is.
Yeah,
it is that. Absolutely. 100%. In fact, I'm going to play some ARMS.
There we go.
I forgot about ARMS. I forget about everything.
Good bank holiday game, innit?
It would have been. Although it was too hot. Right.
So
that was just for me, wasn't it? So I've got nobody else's answer. Right, Busker Lily. Have you ever done something in a game you know is super cool and impressive but had nobody around who would appreciate it? Even worse, if you tried to show them anyway.
Any time that I played Super Hot VR is when you're playing it, you feel like you're amazing and the best thing ever, and then you look like an idiot because my wife, Jen, mostly just filmed me playing it, and I just look. It looks ridiculous, but you just but you think you're very cool and impressive when you're doing it.
It's true.
Some of my saves in Rocket League. I mean, honestly, I just want to grab people and go, no, you don't understand how good that was. And no one cares. No one cares. Oh, what? They just, it looks stupid. It looks childish. Just ridiculous. But to me, it's like I've become a pro player out of nowhere just for that split second. So I just whack them up on Twitter. that's how I get around that.
I've absolutely stopped telling Jill anything gaming wise because she's like, okay, cool, well,
it's awful, isn't it?
Fine.
When you just want to show, sometimes I just want to show Joe a video of a trailer or something that's going on. Even we've been watching Mad Men, right? Because we wanted to watch a show, get into something. So we chose Mad Men, and we've blitzed through 5 series of the thing. And even just wanting to show her a clip from what's that, LA Noire, just so that they could see that character. It's just so she could see that character in it. She was just like, is it a game? Is it? I don't want to see it. I don't want to talk about it. Don't worry about it.
Reasonable reaction with LA Noire, though. It's terrible. I know,
but she wasn't worried about whatever. It was just, she's got no time for any of that stuff. So if I was to sit her down and say, Joe, watch this save I made in Rocket League last night, it'd be over. My marriage would be in tatters. No doubt.
Yeah, I definitely showed Jill the first solo when I got on PUBG, and she's like, oh, okay, well, that's.
Have you showed any of your Dark Souls stuff?
No, God, no. I mean, she came into the stream though a few weeks. She came into the God of War stream.
That's right.
So she saw that.
She signed up.
That wasn't super cool. That was me being an embarrassing idiot dressed up as Kratos. So it wasn't quite the same.
How about you, John? Is there any interest there?
Well, No, if I showed her something like the LA Noire, I think I showed her that back in the day, then yeah, she'd be interested in something like that. But not in like an individual thing that I did in a game, like a cool moment. But I'd just show her anyway, just to make myself laugh. But I wouldn't expect anything. I wouldn't expect anything back. But I've got a little kid that I can just show now. He's impressed.
That's true.
With stuff.
That helps, doesn't it? Yeah. All right. Next question.
All right. Prod Charger. Our local McDonald's has a create your own burger option. What's the longest you spent designing a character in a game, and was it worth it?
First of all, Prod Charger, where do you live? I need to know where that McDonald's is.
I did
I
that.
have that.
Yeah.
You can do
They
that.
have them everywhere now, Matt. They've gone global. McDonald's.
But what about is that on one of the touch screens?
Yeah.
Because I've never looked for a custom option.
Yeah, you just customize any burger. You can just do.
Well, yeah, you can customize. Okay. I mean, in my head, it was much grander than just literally like, do I want the sauce or not? But okay, I guess.
Well,
Right.
There's a video.
You can add like 6 burgers if you want to it. You know, like 6 patties or whatever.
Someone on there was a video on YouTube of someone going in there and ordering a sausage and egg McMuffin, but just like adding loads of patty, like loads of sausages to it, like loads of bacon, and it turned up. It was massive.
I've never thought about changing the default options. This is a whole different world.
Yeah, it's all there for you, Matt. It's all there for you. I find that the longer I spent on character creation, the worse it looks. There's been like the old boxing games, fight night games and stuff. The amount of times I would try and spend on,
or like FIFA, taking the pictures of was it FIFA 14?
Yeah, that was awful.
That took forever and looked shit as well.
That was that's Rainbow Six is still the best implementation of that, because you just did it with your Xbox Live Vision cam, and it looked like you. Plus, everyone you were fighting looked like. Who was that? Is it like James's character just looked like James, and you could see him walking along like by your side, and that it's just hilarious. Yeah, that was good shit. But yeah, no, I find that the longer I spend on them, I've not got that brain. Like, you look at people that used to, because you used to do the Mii's, like loads of Mii's, right, John?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to creating your own character in most games, I won't bother that long because it just takes forever, and quite often the character creators aren't very good. But I used to spend a decent amount of time creating wrestlers in wrestling games, and then there was a couple of EA MMA, and was it one of the fight nights? There was one where you could upload and download characters. So I used to spend time making characters in that, and people would download them. But the Mii's.
Oh, was that iDub?
Oh, iDub.
Didn't you do loads on iDub?
I got into iDub as well. I forgot about iDub. But yeah, the Mii's were a big thing on the Wii. I really got into making celebrity Mii's. And there was this website, Mii Plaza, I think it was called. And like, my celebrities are up there, man. They've got like hundreds of upvotes. And I reckon, I'm pretty confident saying there's plenty of our listeners have had my little Mii's, wandering into their Wii's over time, because you could send them off, couldn't you? And people would, if you like one that walked into your little plaza, you just grab it and keep it. Do you remember that? I had some classics on there. Vince McMahon, Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I used to spend hours and hours doing them. It was such a cool, because it was so limited, but we could actually change quite a lot. So just like changing the angle of the eyebrow from straight to like 20 degrees or whatever it was could change someone's whole face, and then you move that up or shrink them ever so slightly, and then eventually their face would come together. I really enjoyed doing that. But that's why your Mii's always offended me so much. But that's, that's a personal thing, Dave. It's a personal thing.
Well, no, that's just how I look.
It's not though, is it?
That's the problem there. What?
You don't look like that. We've had this conversation before. I could create a phenomenal Mii for you, sir. A phenomenal Mii.
Okay, you got to do that then.
All right.
All right.
Okay, remind me next time, because I've already forgotten.
Yeah, I'll remind you. The other game was fucking Mass Effect. Trying to create my Mass Effect character, and by the end of it, he just looked like a crack addict.
Yeah,
like it looked like, what was it, Pete Doherty? It was just ridiculous, awful.
I tried that as well, and then just like gave up and just went for the default because it just looked awful. I don't want to be.
Did you try and make them look like you?
No, I don't know. I just tried to. Sometimes I try and do that, but it never works out because it always looks odd. And because I tried that with Skyrim as well, and they're so like the options are pretty limited. Like similar with Fallout as well, and you end up just creating things that look hideous. And so in the end, just like no,
so it looks exactly like you then.
Pretty much, yeah. It's pretty cheap, Dave, but go on.
I'm always up for the cheap one. Matt.
I mean, I always try to make characters look like me, but it's really worth it. I mean, I remember when Sea of Thieves was out in like the beta. Oh, no, I guess it was like the first night of Game Pass or whenever I played it. You know, obviously in that you can't create your own character, but you can keep refreshing the options for the characters that you can choose.
Oh god, that must have been a nightmare.
Yeah, it was horrific because I was like, okay, well maybe the next ones will be better, and I want this sort of guy with like this sort of beard, and it's like that wasn't coming up, but okay, I guess that's close enough. No, I'll favourite them. Keep rolling. It must have been like 25 minutes. Probably not going to play the actual game. I was happy with the character I've got.
Yeah, actually play
it again. But yeah, I mean, I don't do it as often now because now it's literally just like person with beard, person with no hair, done. But yeah,
cool.
Sweet.
All right.
Stanchel says, has a game ever taught you a transferable skill which you've then applied in another context in real life? For me, I couldn't stop staring at the tiny pinprick noses on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 until I learned to block them out, as I now also do with my colleague's facial wart. I used to, before I compete in Jiu-Jitsu, I used to play Super Hexagon on my phone because it would just, you have to concentrate so much and get yourself in the zone. It would stop me getting stressed about the match and my adrenaline and everything like that. So, I didn't use the actual skill of moving your little hexagon around and not crashing when I fought, but a transferable skill, I guess. Or maybe.
Yeah, more like yours. I haven't got a transferable skill as such, but I used freeze whenever I was going through a stressful time with Harry. Like if he was being a dick, or if you weren't sleeping, or if whatever would happen, like if I was feeling stressed, I would bring up freeze and sit and play that, and it calmed me down. It was weird. It was like that. That's probably like that's the psychological reason why I've got now 15,000 games worth of freeze on my phone. And that is probably that. It's sort of like a happy place, or not even a happy place. It's something to focus on when shit's going down. Yeah, that's what I use that game for. So that's why there's been so many games that have been played of that. But yeah, transferable, because it's not that easy, is it?
I can't think of anything.
It's the opposite for me. I remember playing so much Wii bowling, thinking, I think I'm probably a great bowler in real life. That's not the case. Turns out it's a lot easier in Wii bowling.
Oh, I should say, when I fishtailed my car that time, I definitely sorted out because of video games. That was definitely a skill.
GTA 3 or whatever told me that if my car ever goes on two wheels, I steer towards the ground. Yeah. I don't see
I don't know. That whole moment was fucking bizarre, but suddenly I went from basically sideways going down a dual carriageway into straight into driving normally, like nothing had gone wrong. And it was definitely GTA. It definitely was, because I didn't know.
Yeah, well, we mentioned before, but I'm definitely convinced that the racing games and playing games would definitely aid me were I to ever drift a car or my car went into a slide. I mean, always steer into it. I mean, like, if I wasn't playing Stake Rally so much, maybe I wouldn't be bothered. But yeah, I mean, I think racing games is probably the one that I feel like I am transferring my skills from games.
A friend of mine's a pilot, and he said that you can always tell when people are starting to learn to fly. You can always tell which ones have played computer games before, because you know
they're
when
the ones asking where the guns are.
Yeah, no, you know when you pull the stick towards you to take off, the people that haven't played computer games like yank it towards them. Whereas, like, the people that have, they know to slowly start pulling it toward. Like they said, there's definitely you could tell if someone's a gamer or not by that.
That's interesting.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean that's what he told me. I don't know how legit it is, but
yeah, I'll take that as gospel from now on.
We'll pass that information on regardless from now on. So it seems to check out. James.
Oh, sorry, James.
I said I can't think of anything at all that's like really
good. Okay.
I already said that. What are you expecting?
All right,
Whoa.
no, I'm saying right, okay,
Right.
defensive.
Why do you think Nintendo, same from Stanchill again, why do you think Nintendo haven't mapped out the whole of 2018 as they did so eagerly for 2017? I really liked that anti-hype approach. It was transparent about what was coming and when. It also seemed to quell any concerns about the library being strong enough. Any thoughts?
Well, that's the point, innit? That's why they did it in the first place, was to try and make people not be bothered, like not concerned that there wasn't going to be anything coming out.
I know, but then what you're saying is that why haven't they done that this year?
Maybe they don't feel they need to, or maybe they haven't. I mean, cynically, you could say they haven't got as much as they had last year. I mean, last year was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get like a Mario Odyssey and a Breath of the Wild every year. That's ridiculous.
I just don't think we fully understand what they've got for us this year. We don't know yet. And I still think it's going to be a big year at E3 for them.
I don't.
I've still got a feeling. Still got hope. I said now, my life is changing. I am going to be Mr. Positivity from now
that's
on.
right.
We are going to win the World Cup. Nintendo are going to announce some huge games. F-Zero is coming out. It's going to happen. It's all happening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited for E3. I could shit right now. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, well, the version we tell you will be amazing. It's just how legit it is.
All right,
I'm so scared.
Moving on. Busker Lily, may the fourth be with you, they say on Star Wars Day. Remember the shit special editions? What is the worst change you've come across when playing a remake or remaster of a game you loved? That was really confusing because it was like a question and then that wasn't the question. And then it was something else. It was something about Star Wars. That was really confusing.
It was really confusing. Yeah. What's the worst change to a remaster game? I can't think of a single one.
That's a very specific and difficult question to answer.
Well, it's not only that. I can't think of a single time where I've looked at it and gone, oh my god, they've changed this game. So, but obviously the lack of the Offspring on
Crazy Taxi.
360 version of... Yeah, Crazy Taxi. That's probably about as bad. Because so much of that game was the music.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a good answer.
Yeah, that is a good answer.
Should we all say that?
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Crazy Taxi
it's
probably
definitely
that
one.
Yeah, well done, Dave. Round of applause for Dave. Well done, Dave.
Cheers, mate.
Well done, Dave.
Saved it. Cheers, man.
Today is May Day. May Day is what they say when an aeroplane crashes. What is the best gaming level set on an aeroplane? For me, it will always be Ghost Squad. Good answer. There's a few, but I'm going to go Big Rainbow Six, just because.
Oh, I was going to say that. Yeah, Glaz on the wing.
Yeah,
I'm going to say
all day long.
the Modern Warfare 2 airport map. That was a good one.
Oh god, that is a good shout as well. That is a very good shout. Uncharted 3, when you fall out of the plane in the desert.
Oh,
that's really good.
That was good. I enjoyed that.
That's one of the only good bits in that game, to be fair. But yeah, that was pretty good. Anyway, any others? Oh, mate, Rainbow Six is such a good answer because that level is cracking.
You mean Siege? Yeah.
Yeah,
because that was really.
What did
good.
I say?
No, just clarifying. Yeah, it was Siege.
Right, yeah, Siege. Yeah, it's absolute class. It's good. Glaz on the wing all day long.
Right.
Next,
Martin Baker. Which Ghostbuster would each host be if they were indeed a Ghostbuster? Who's going to make the gag first?
Well, I don't need to answer. You know my answer.
Matt'll be Gordon. I'd be Brian.
I'm Terry.
And James would be Sam. I don't know. So who would it be? I mean, I'd be the Bill Murray one, I think. Wouldn't I?
Yeah.
He's the coolest.
But he's also a dick.
I think James would be Egon.
James would be Egon, yeah.
It'd be the
Spengler.
I was thinking I'd be Winston. So I guess you can be.
I'm alright with Egon. That'd be fine.
Yeah, because you came in late.
I guess I'm Ray.
Which one's Ray?
Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
The other one.
Yeah.
Who would be Walter Peck? That's what I want to know. He's my favourite character. He's the guy that wanted to shut down the whole operation. What a name. They sat down in a meeting and said, what's this guy's name going to be called? How about Walter Peck?
It's Chet, isn't it?
Okay,
Perfect.
right. I'm just checking. There was a guy. Yeah, Ray is the one who's played by Dan Aykroyd. I was right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's Chet, isn't it? Who wants to shut down the whole operation?
Yes, Chet is Walter Peck.
Right.
Good.
Kurt Lewin, what would you rather avoid for its duration? E3, like what Matt will be, or the World Cup? E3.
Oh, I saw this 3 today and I thought
E3.
E3 definitely, because
That's
World Cup's
the
like 5
easiest
weeks.
answer to
and
any
it's the World
question
Cup.
I've ever
Yeah.
given.
E3 is like 2 days into
Cup's
E3.
like-
There's nothing like a World Cup,
No,
is
the
there?
best.
Yeah,
You can't miss
it's
that.
unbelievable.
Okay, but like, I mean, it would still be E3 for me, but it'd be a little bit closer if England weren't in the World Cup.
Oh no,
I could
no
still-
way! Even without that, it's the World Cup. It's the World
Yeah,
Cup.
but I find it hard to watch things like that when England ain't
It
in
is
it.
less interesting
Yeah.
when there's no light.
It's less interesting,
Yeah.
sure, but it's still the World Cup.
Yeah, it's still the World Cup. Yeah, come on, England, come on,
Right.
Harry Kane,
Oh god! Yeah, I changed my answer. Lukaku police. If you were to go on a TCGS holiday together, where would you decide to go and why?
Okay,
That's a
right.
horrible
Let's start off
question.
by: are we doing city break or beach holiday?
Beach.
It's beach for me all day
Beach.
long.
Oh, I'd always go city break.
Yeah, me too.
Well, does
Okay,
that mean
so-
James are going together? I need you going together.
No, we all got to go together. That's the
Okay,
whole point.
we should probably go to Barcelona because you can do a bit of both that
It's a
way.
good
can't
shout. It's a good shout.
Or
I
go to
don't
Hong
really
Kong,
fancy
you can do the same
Barcelona.
thing. Let's go
Oh,
there.
no.
I'll go Barcelona.
It's too
It's
far.
way too far. I was going to say as a gag that James would say China. I know it's not. Yeah, but that's just because you'll go on a work trip or something and get it free, and we'll
Yeah,
have
you
to
have
pay.
some conference and we
Yeah,
can.
we
go.
will.
So
Okay,
don't
that's
you want to go
halfway
somewhere
there.
new, James?
I just love Hong
Go
Kong.
somewhere new.
It's a
You've
great
been to
city.
Hong-
It's great.
Yeah, but you've been there.
I know.
You've
but
been
I like
there.
it
Let's
there a
go
lot.
somewhere new.
Yeah, go Barcelona. I've been there, but it's amazing.
All right, let's go to
Go.
Barcelona. Let's move it on.
Brilliant, we're going.
What's the next question?
That's it.
Okay, let's go to
That
Barcelona.
was it.
Let's move on. Brilliant. That was it. I just realised that Matt, in his feedback, he didn't mention the meme thing that happened
Oh,
this
I
week.
did have some. Yeah, Dave posted a meme and he crushed it, and everyone else was like saying, "Well, this clearly isn't one of Matt's. It's brilliant. Well done,
Instantly.
Dave."
It was really good as well.
Absolutely straight away. Boom.
Yeah.
It got to the point, Matt, where I genuinely felt sorry for you. The amount of effort you put into that Twitter feed, I put that thing up, and then straight away, this isn't Matt, it's good.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, that's strong.
Yeah, like Paul Shop XS. I'm not one for console war bullshit, but this is actually pretty funny. Must be the work of David Turner's. I mean, he wasn't the only one to tweet that.
If you've not seen it, go to our Twitter feed, and it's the Golden Balls video.
He's got
right?
99 retweets, so to get it to 100 at least.
At least, but I'm gutted that it's only got 99. I genuinely thought it was going to explode like big time, and I think it just needs to pierce the right bubble, and then it'll just go everywhere. But yeah, it's a little bit naughty, hey? IGM wouldn't have been happy with that.
I was disappointed you didn't apologise for it after you posted it. That's what
Yeah,
you
but I
should-
said to John was like, do a fake apology. And I went, well, we're going to leave it up. So it don't really work, does it? But, yeah.
Yeah,
Fine.
you'd have had to. I think it would have
Okay.
only worked if you'd done it within 5 minutes of posting it. Doing the
Yeah,
apology.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So what did you think of the emails and tweets this week, John? Happy
You
with
cut
them?
out there, but I'm assuming you're asking for a review. I would say it's
Yes.
fine. It's a bank holiday. I'm not expecting much. There was a decent volume. Nobody's really changing the game this week, but that's okay. I don't think I changed the game on a podcast. So, I can't ask for more than I'm going to deliver myself, can I, Dave?
No, you can't. No, you can't, John. And it's good that you recognise that. Matt, what are you doing now on social media? What's going on?
We're on all the usual networks. We're on Twitter, of course. We're on Facebook. Facebook, is anyone actually using it anymore? I'm not sure, but we're on there. We're on Instagram. I do a Twitch stream every Sunday night at 9. I'm still doing Dark Souls. I'll probably do it on a Wednesday as well. So Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, I'm doing more Dark Souls. I'm up to Nito now in...
Nito.
Yeah,
Piece
I'm
of
up to
piss.
Nito. That's good.
Piece of piss.
Is it a piece of piss?
What do you think of the archives?
I really liked him, yeah. Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
my second favourite
good
area
area.
following
Matt, real quick,
Send.
whereabouts are you now? How many of these fuckers have you done?
Well, I've done I've done that Cephas Scalus, whatever it's called, and now I'm on to Nito in the
He's
other
done
area.
two. He's got 2 Lord Souls. He's got 2 left.
Yeah.
He's
All
got.
right, bloody hell. Get
Yeah,
in
he's
there,
got.
mate.
He's
Get in
got to
there.
do the 4 Kings and Nito.
Do you say Nito
Yeah.
was a piece of piss?
Yeah, I did him first time.
Oh, did
He is pretty easy.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe 4th for me. Yeah, it was one of those ones where I'm like, oh god, and then 2 or 3 rounds in, you're like, oh, actually, this guy isn't hard at all.
Anyway,
Yeah, 4 Kings I really, really fucking struggled with, but that was because I think I did it first out of the 4 of them.
yeah,
so I
everyone
was
says I
way
should have left it to
underpowered.
end, and that's what I've done. But,
Yeah.
I'm streaming on Wednesday nights at 9 and now Sunday nights at 9. So go to twitch.tv/The Computer Game Show or just search us on there to follow. And if you've got Twitch Prime or an Amazon Prime account, why not give us a free subscription? We'd really appreciate that. We've got Discord to go to bit.ly/TGCS Discord to talk with like-minded people from your area. And we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review, why not? And anywhere else, basically. Anywhere else you can find us, we're probably there.
I am also streaming on Thursday, which Matt never mentions. And I'm doing Fahrenheit, which is.
You do ask him not to mention it.
I never said
constantly.
that. I never said don't mention it. When did I ever say that?
Are you fucking kidding me, James?
No, I said when I began, I said I'm going to stealth start, but that didn't mean that I wasn't going to.
So you asked him not to mention it?
Yeah, the first time, but
so
that's not
when
like
you said
forever.
It. That's when you said it, then, wasn't it?
Yeah, not forever.
That's when you said it.
You should just say, Matt, mention it, and I'll mention it. I didn't know it was every Thursday, to be fair. But
every Thursday, I ask you if you're going to stream on that night, and then you're like, no, and then I say, all right, I'm going to stream this.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. James is streaming on Thursday. Everyone.
Thanks for living it. We will catch you next week. We hope you have a lovely week, and we'll see you this time next week for the usual bullshit. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, later.
Yeah, bye.